it? Can you dig it?
Ladies, gentlemen, friends, foes, lurkers, regulars, GMO people, organic people.
Boiler room. Inbound. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, friends and foes, lurkers, regulars, genetically modified people, you know who you are. Most of you have buyer's remorse right now for that genetic modification, but that's okay. That's all right. We'll do our best to support you folks, our genetically modified folks and organic peoples. What's up? Welcome to the Boiler Room. It's great to have you here with us. And I'm your host, my call sign's Hesher. It's great to see you and be heard by you. We're streaming out live over Rumble, X, and what's that other one? I feel like there's a third. Oh, yeah, YouTube. What's up, YouTube? It's great to see everybody. There's Banhammer. What's up, dude? Great to see you. Oh, crap. We live. That's right. And it is July the 10th of 2025. It's great to be here with you. And, you know, I guess we're all conspiracy theorists now, right? I obviously am. That's why I have no reach on this platform X and no reach on this platform YouTube. But you are too. Welcome to the party. You might be late to the party, but thanks for joining us, conspiracy theorists here. We've been telling you for, let's see, how long ago did this video come out that we used to feature on Boiler Room? Let's see, 8 years ago. 8 years ago. Holy crap. 8 years ago, this guy was telling you that they turned the frogs gay. Oh my goodness. Shout out to Place Boing. This is sort of a, I don't know, defunct channel now, but we're really ahead of the time. They were really in that Boiler Room sort of milieu, if you will. Eileen, what's up? Great to see you. We got some of our friends coming into the chat here, but yeah, welcome, old school conspiracy theorists and new school normies. You know, because you know what? They turned the frickin' frogs gay.
I don't like them putting chemicals in the water that turn the friggin' frogs gay. Do you understand that? Turn the friggin' frogs gay. Serious crap. Gay. Frogs, friggin' frogs. It's not funny. I'm going to say it real slow for you. Gay. Frogs.
Gay frogs. All right. Well. It's our pleasure to be here with you tonight. So yeah, 8 years ago, that was fringe entertainment. And now, well, I cannot keep up with what Alex Jones is doing. I really can't. But you know, one thing about being where we are is old Alex Jones always seems to resonate with now, which is weird because you look at now Alex Jones and it's like, what is going on? I'm having a hard time keeping up. But you know, look backward and holy crap, everything makes sense.
Won't you fight for your life? Gay. Frogs, friggin' frogs. I don't like the frogs.
We don't like the frogs gay. All right. Okay. That's what we got going on here in the Boiler Room tonight. It's fantastic to be with you. I see more people jumping into the live stream chats on the several platforms that we're on. So thanks for being here with us tonight. We're broadcasting live our website is alternatecurrentradio.com. Head on over there for tonight's show page, and we'll get the show reference links onto that page shortly after the show. Now, we got a lot going on this week. I don't know about you out there, but I've had to take a step back from some of the headlines just for my own mental well-being. Back when that video came out, we were on air at least weekly, if not more, probably bi-weekly, twice a week, something like that. And these days, wow, the headlines are coming fast and furious, are they not, my friends? Can't keep up. And I used to make a lot of references to the Toxic Avenger. My trauma team out there will know what I'm talking about. But to me, the news feed, the doom scroll, if you will, was essentially the vat of toxic waste that the anti-hero from the Toxic Avenger was dumped into. Nothing but toxicity, right? Nothing but toxicity. But my friends, he came out, the Toxic Avenger. So that's what we've always aspired to achieve with our indulgence in the doom scroll. That Toxic Avenger status, right? That Marvin, the Toxic Avenger, with the mop, the main weapon being the mop. And for us, the mop, what we're mopping up is the trash, the garbage, the sludge, the absolute lies, the propaganda, the psyops of the mass media cartel. And with that, I got to bring in Mark Anderson to the conversation here because he's joining us tonight. He's coming in as himself. Stop the presses on Republic Broadcast Network and thetruthhound.com. Mark, welcome to the Boiler Room. How you doing tonight?
Greetings, Hesher. I'm doing just fine. I'm having my evening cup of tea, and I'm ready to sling arrows at anyone that I may want to sling them at.
That's right.
So you're talking about the media cartel, aka legacy cartel. And yes, indeed, it's a constant struggle. The headlines that tire you out, you mentioned taking a break. That's part of the problem. It's a ticker tape of endless headlines. And one of the fundamental things wrong with the media is when I watch it, especially when there's headlines going across the bottom in a ticker tape fashion, and there's the main stories, and it's one thing after another, the question that always goes across my mind is, what would they have us do with this? Why do they broadcast it? Why do they present it this way? What am I to do with this, even if I make sense of it? Is my country going to suddenly transform into a free country just by virtue of what they do? Or is it going to sink deeper into the morass, deeper into oblivion? Because it's just such an information overload, apart from whether the veracity of it is trustworthy or not, which it isn't, of course. So all of us have to take kind of a detox once in a while, and that tells you something. The fact that you even have to do that tells you something.
Yeah. I mean, much like myself and Spore and those of us in the Boiler Room, Mark is the Toxic Avenger. We are the people that see the toxic river of psychological operations and dive in it. Like we swan dive into it so that we can understand it, absorb all of it, all of the terrible effects of it, and come out, get to the shore and say, hey, you 9-to-5er, we know you can't do this. So we did it for you. We jumped in the toxic sludge. We talked about all the things that you're not allowed to talk about 5, 10, 20 years before you can talk about it. And here's what we think. That's what we've been doing, Mark. And here we are. Here we find ourselves in 2025. This, Donald Trump, number 47, president. We've got Agenda 21, UN Agenda 21, basically realized at the last minute via COVID. And here we are, people that were told were crazy for talking about Agenda 21 before it happened, people that were talking about it while it was happening, people that created a social rejects club because we imagined a decade ago what a world would be like where you could be debanked, deplatformed, depersoned for disagreeing with or questioning the mainstream narrative. And here we are, Mark. Here we are all these years later, and I find it all very inspiring to this day, interesting, and frightening all at once.
Yeah, they used to have debtor's prison in maybe the early 20th, but certainly before the 20th century came along, there was something called debtor's prison that eventually went the way of the Edsel and the dodo bird. But debanking and deplatforming, I think, is the new debtor's prison. They had to come up with some way to actually sanction and punish people financially or otherwise for not fitting into the state apparatus the way they're supposed to, not being good little statists. And so that's the way it seems to function. It seems to perform a very similar public disservice. That's my take on it. And I think it's probably an accurate one. Apart from all the other money manipulation that would affect certainly everyone, central bank digital currencies that aren't so much punishment as they are just more of the same deception and general corruption of the system. Also, the bankers can live up to their motto, ask not what we can do for you, ask what you can do for us.
Yeah. Exactly where our founding fathers did not want us to be in 2025. Ironically, sadly, truthfully, this is the opposite of what they had in mind for us. But they were only barely able to see the reality of technocracy, not even able to see the potential of cybernetic feedback loops and 24/7 infinite doom scrolling in a society where the financial reality is tanking, the cultural reality is tanking, the familial reality is tanking, the spiritual reality is tanking. So yeah, they did their best. Some may question them, and we may be among them, quite frankly. Great to see everybody in the Discord. If you haven't joined our Discord yet, please do go to alternatecurrentradio.com. And after you go to the support page and buy some merch or whatever, find our Discord invite. In that main hamburger menu, Ruckus has made it very easy for you to find. And let's welcome Based Lit Analyzer of the Based Lit Analyzer YouTube channel to the boiler room here. Mr. Lit Analyzer, Mr. Based Lit Analyzer, as my friend Lynn Shaw likes to call you. How's it going, man? Great to see you.
You understand that? What's up, y'all?
Hey,
I
man.
like the Alex clips. Yeah, it's good to see Mark and the whole crew here today. I'm so excited. There's so much to cover. But like Ruckus said beforehand, everything's happened and nothing's happened.
Right.
So I'm interested in everybody's take on all this stuff.
I know, man. I know. We're gonna have a good time tonight. It's gonna be fun. Okay, hang back. Let me bring the Ruckus among us here. We've got Ruckus with us. Ruckus, what's up, dude? Welcome to the boiler room.
Yo, how's it going? I made it, literally. I just made this complimentary background picture to match yours, Hesher. So I'm here. I just made the post on the social media, but I'm about to continue that here in a second to bring more people to us. So please share the links to the shows if you already have found the live show and you're already tuned in. And yeah, there is a lot to discuss. And I got word from we might have another one joining us for sure, Hesher. So we might have a special first timer to the Boiler Room joining us shortly. So that's going to be exciting. And in the meantime, we can probably move on to the star of the show. You know who I'm talking about. Let's do it.
Yeah. All right. Cool. Good news. All right. Well, it's time for icebreakers. So we're going to welcome the one, the only, the very lovely keeper of all things whiskey, Tango, Foxtrot on the interwebs, lovely Spore. Welcome back to the Boiler Room. So, what do we got to kick off with this week? And if you remember, who dropped it to us?
Where's the noise?
Oh, right. Wait, which one is it? It's
the
this one.
icebreaker noise.
Got it.
It sounds intense.
I didn't turn it down that time. Usually I turn it down a little bit, but that time I just left it at full nutsack.
Full nutsack. Neato. Okay. All right. Well, I'm just gonna dive in here after that great nutsack icebreaker, and I'm actually going to present an article that Ruckus Among Us brought to us. This is from the New York Post. Barbie's first doll with type 1 diabetes comes complete with continuous glucose monitor and insulin pump.
What the fuck?
I'm going to read part of it to you. Let's see here. Okay, so on her arm, the new doll wears a continuous glucose monitor to help manage her type 1 diabetes, held in place with pink heart-shaped medical tape.
Wow.
It also comes with a Barbie phone that displays a CGM app to help track her blood sugar levels, just like the real life monitors, which track glucose level 24 hours a day via a sensor radar or under her skin. Via a sensor under her skin. Oh yeah. Okay. So, and she's got like clothing that represents type 1 diabetes.
T1D. That's what we call it these days for T1D.
Yeah, T1D. She got the T1D to determine the dress pattern in her shoes. She's got blue polka dots. That represents the T1D. I don't even know what to make of this. Like,
okay, hold on. Let me just interject for a moment here. Isn't Barbie like for kids?
isn't she a doll?
Yeah.
Like a little plastic dolly.
Do we really want children worrying about T1D? Like, should children be worried about type 1 diabetes? I mean, where's Wilford Brimley? Cute, someone cute. Wilford
Diabetes.
Brimley. Diabetes. Diabetes.
Well, I mean, okay, so like the article does say that this is, Mattel is trying to bring awareness about the T1D. Which I mean, from my perspective, like type 2 diabetes, it's a little bit more like something that like kids need to be aware of because type 1 is very rare. Type 2 is the type that they can grow into from poor eating habits. Type 1 is something that like they can just be born into. I don't know. Your thoughts?
Wow, that was nice of StreamYard to automatically switch to me as soon as I made the superfluous comment of thanks, StreamYard. I don't know how you do that, but cool automation, cool AI. We were suffering from this last week. It was just randomly switching to other people. I wonder if they put a new feature in here where if you're speaking, it moves to you. I don't know, but
Test. Let me test this theory. Test. Checking. This is ruckus speed. It doesn't like ruckus. All right.
no,
This happens.
no.
This happens to be those automatic door openers. Sometimes they don't see me. I'm so damn skinny, and they never open for me.
It's because you're a social reject, dude.
Probably.
No.
So somebody said that's because you don't have a soul.
Oh, ouch. That's mean.
Testing 1 2 testing.
Nope. Mark has no soul either, apparently.
Hello. What
Man,
about me? Do I have a
I got to
soul?
get back to the drawing board.
At least it favors the host. I mean, gosh. Okay, so T1D, TBD, if T1D is actually even a genetic affliction, first of all, that has not been proven to me in any way, shape, or form. And it seems like this whole, it's a genetic affliction is something that so many people are told and accept at face value. And I don't know if that's the right decision, honestly. I mean, there may be as our friend Randy would say, a there, but I'm skeptical. Count me in the skeptical crowd. What do you
So
think?
what I mean, when you say you're
Or
skeptical, you're skeptical of type 1 diabetes, does that mean that you think that it's possible that like maybe these children were born into a situation where they were eating unhealthy foods?
I think if I'm gonna be completely bold against some of the terms and conditions, just in the practice of exercising my free speech, myself personally, my opinion is that a lot of things that people get told are genetic or environmental are actually injuries that they are suffering from man-made products. I'll put it that way. I think most people know what I'm referring to when I say man-made products, but I mean,
I
I
think
hear
you might mean something that rhymes with waxing.
waxing
Waxing.
or yab or
Yeah.
yabs out there. Because I know so many. Look, it did it again. Sport. It just took you as priority and put you on the big screen. But
I should be
you should be.
priority and on the big
There you
screen.
are again. Because you should. Anyways, um, it did it again. What the? It
It's because
doesn't
you
want
guys
me.
are in the same house together. I figured it out. Oh shit! Well, I'm not that far away from you, so that might be I might be onto something.
We're all on the same service provider, bro. I mean, geez. But yeah. Anyways, I have my own personal doubts about the whole congenial thing. Um, I think it's possible that some things are congenial, but I think that in general, there are injuries that are sustained from services, if you will, man made services that can cause autoimmune disorders, which lead you to the physician's handbook reference guide and a medication to treat said injury. And it's very convenient that they have, congenial excuses for a lot of these conditions that didn't even exist, 50, 60, 80, 100 years ago, by the way. But that's just me. I am the person who thought it was funny when Alex Jones said they turned the frickin' frogs gay.
You're starting to sound like that crazy guy that used to talk about this stuff all the time. He's the son of a famous politician. He's got Junior in his name. Oh, Bobby Kennedy Jr. I think that was his name. You don't want to sound like that guy. I mean, he's anti-science and anti you know what. I mean, all the way. So, oh, wait a minute. Wait. Oh, crap. Well,
Yeah.
all right. It is 2025 after all.
Yet his conspiracy friends had to disown him over some of the things he's said and done lately. How
the blog, right? The defender from Children's Health, they had to put out a thing and said, we are seriously distinct. We do not agree about wearable technologies. And what is Miss Barbie doll here pushing? Is this about, what is this really about, guys? Is this really you know, like identifying and you know, raising awareness for people who are suffering from this terrible, clearly, you know, a horrible disease that came out from outer space. We don't know what's causing this, right? The mystery is beyond us. It's baffled science for quite a while now, because this has been a long running thing. This has been a big problem. Same with like kids 12 years old dying of heart attacks and stuff. It's a big problem, everybody. But yeah, no, I think the Barbie is interesting that she's pushing the selling point is she's got the wearable technology, the constant glucose monitoring after Robert F. Kennedy Jr. was like, this is our priority. We want to put wearables on all the kids. And now there's a kid's toy with you know, call me a coincidental theorist or whatever you want to say, but I mean, geez, they should wait a little bit longer. Kind of like that poor lady who decided to kill herself after saying she wasn't going to kill herself right before the Epstein thing. I mean, they should have waited a little while. You know, it looks bad.
It is a bad look. Yeah.
There are certainly tie-ins with Barbie and Big Frama, we'll say. I mean, remember during 2020 Carunca when they made Barbies that were modeled on NHS health workers, and then one of the first Barbies they made was on one of the VAX developers, that lady who worked for the NHS. They had a whole Barbie of her. They spent a lot of money on ad campaigns trying to enlist. Remember Lady Gaga and all the people that were in. I mean, we all remember. I mean, but Lady Gaga was one of the most notable ones. For
that guy that dated or is dating Taylor Swift, right?
Yeah. There were a whole. I think there was a huge. I mean, obviously, we know, you can tell just by looking at the ads that there was a huge a huge push in ad campaign revenue through whatever ad, PR campaign they had, and whoever they got to enlist, for all this stuff. But I think Lady Gaga was somewhat of a model for somehow she's tied in. I wouldn't be surprised if she's funded by the same thing for that ad campaign as for this Barbie thing. So it seems to be par for the course. Wilford Brimley, more like Pilford Brimley, right?
That's like so dated now. I mean, the fact that we even know who Wilford Brimley is a sure sign that Gen X is the next.
That's classic. That's what when Zoomers or whoever it is talks about brain rot. That's like one of the first examples of brain rot from the internet. There was that in the icy hot Shaquille O'Neal, brain melt vaporwave commercial. Remember that?
Yes.
Put powder spray.
Yeah. All right. Mark Anderson, what do you think, man? Diabetes Barbie. What are we preparing children for here?
When she loses a leg due to poor circulation. Maybe it'll start with a toe or a finger or a foot or something. It's kind of strange. There's always been this sort of politically liberal obsession with the handicapped or with people that are sick. It's kind of like, how would you explain this? It's sort of like, the Americans with Disabilities Act, and they're redoing entire buildings for multi-millions of dollars for people that have handicaps. And on the one hand, it sounds good, but it's like they're trying to turn them into some sort of market for liberal politics. Well, if you're in a wheelchair, you've got to vote Democrat. It's kind of like they look at it as a constituency almost.
Man.
So it's like, Mark, it's sort of similar to this race baiting identity politics that we see, where it's like the media or certain political elements want, and this happens on the right and the left. This is, it's what do you call it? Omnipresent, but inherent features, like we're being, and this is something we've seen over the years, is being divided by inherent features, whether that's male female, whether that's black white, yellow black, brown black, whatever. It just keeps coming into the conversation in the melting pot of America, by the way, which was supposed to bring us all together.
Yeah, indeed. It's also emblematic in a way, and maybe this is very indirect, of the poor health system we have when you have to have kids' toys representing a serious illness. The what's in our food, what's in the water, that they should be teaching kids the proper way to eat and exercise and to escape this health trap that we're in, where you have to have Medicaid or Medicare, excuse me, when you turn 65, they force you to take it. And so then if you want your health care paid for, it has to be money paid into the allopathic health system. And so it's sort of emblematic of, hey, look at even Barbie's got diabetes. It could be you too, because of all the terrible additives in our food, the denaturing of food, Franken foods, meat made in a lab. It's sort of like it's signaling to kids that, this could be you. You could have some degenerative or chronic disease in this brave new world that you're entering. So even Barbie has diabetes. There's no escape. In a way, it sort of rings along those alleys too.
I totally agree with you, Mark. And just to kind of like add a personal note to this, like I have my mother actually she had polio when she was a child. She got vaccinated a couple times, and she has, her legs are like different lengths. She's had probably over 50 surgeries in her lifetime. I mean, it was like 40 when I was a teenager. So, and she still has more surgeries and not just on her legs, but she's like used to being in and out of the hospital. And I think it's like almost like kind of like comforting to her, like because she's been there so much. But there is this, it's, the allopathic way of life. It's like, once you're in that system, it's almost like a religion. And I feel like this advertisement, this Barbie doll diabetes thing is sort of like that in terms of like the propaganda way, where it's like, this is just a part of your life, you can't do anything about it. And I mean, Brian and I have been like following a carnivore, we follow a bunch of carnivore things, obviously Tristan and Jessica's, and Primal Bod was a new one that we kind of picked up on, but it's like about like how your body responds to insulin. And the truth is, like, if we're not putting a bunch of crap in our bodies, we're going to be healthier. But like this Barbie, like having a Barbie, like just, we're going to normalize the Barbie having this insulin indicator is just so normalizing, putting like, the allopathic sort of solution onto a person and being like, it's not about what you're intaking, it's about the results of it. And make sure you're not doing it this time. It's the like just like exercising and eating healthy. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, it totally does. No, absolutely, Sport. Ruckus, what do you think? You're the one that sourced this this one. Do you have any comments? The comments from the peanut gallery have been amazing. I've been putting them on the screen while you guys were talking there. We've had
two things about this is, number one is I was not expecting Sport to pick that as the icebreaker. I know I put it in the icebreaker channel, but when I was throwing together some last minute ideas earlier today or yesterday or whatever for show topic ideas for us to discuss tonight, so that, so we know what we're talking about or whatever, or keep, just some ideas. What are we going to talk about, right? We do that every once in a while, right? I was like, this is actually a good story. This is an important story because they're using propaganda to push technocracy on our children. And then, but Sport picked it as an icebreaker, and I think that's fantastic because, I think that these types of stories should be funny, interesting, evoke these interesting responses, but also make us think and lead to the rest of the conversation. So kudos to Spore for picking this one. It was actually a very good one in retrospect. The second thing is I had no clue about this. I would have missed it entirely if it wasn't for the fact that I was just on yesterday with Sam Chaney on Weaponized News, and he had this story handy, and so he shared it. And I was having fun yesterday with the whole Barbie gif throughout the entire show. So anytime there's like some shocking news, like, you know, Barbie goes up, you know. But yeah, it's like, I think it's terrible. Again, I think that this is just a propaganda move. They don't care about people. These people, these elite companies. This is one of those top, like, Fortune 100 companies, isn't it? I mean, they're still pretty big,
I believe.
Yeah, and then here's the other interesting thing too: the fact that it's a doll. They're coming out with a new doll. But I should pull up some videos from just 2 to 3 weeks ago about Trump warning everybody that the little girls aren't going to have 12 dolls for Christmas this year. Maybe they're only going to get 1 or 2. I guess if you're only going to get 1 doll this year, Susie, it better be Diabetes Barbie.
I actually I want to like add one more thing in regards to like my mom and her polio. Like growing up in California, a very leftist place. I cannot even tell you all how many dirty looks she got for parking in the handicapped spot. I presume other liberal lefty Democrats, I don't know, but like people just looked at her like she was so vile for parking in a handicapped spot. Like I mean it was just like it's like the okay, we care about you. We're gonna give you the handicapped spot, but everybody in that parking lot's gonna be really fucking pissed at you if you drive into Denny's and you pull into a handicapped spot and they can't find a spot.
Yeah, totally. And it's like that's the attitude to, you know, the old schooler, to the person with polio. My goodness, now people that are just frankly obese have those same parking meter or parking permits. Denver says, I think building on what I was saying, it's the result of neurotoxins effing up your immune system and shorting out your immune response. That's exactly what I was trying to say. Perhaps, and hey, I'm the conspiracy theorist, I guess, even though I've been sitting here saying this stuff for 15 years and everything I say has been pretty much now popularized and moved to fact realms. That's exactly what this is. This is injuries by corporate products.
And okay, so I just want to add one more thing to that. Sorry, I've had like a frog in my throat for like the past couple of days, and apparently that's going on for a lot of people across the country.
This is a gay frog?
It may be, right? It may be gay. But the other thing is that, like, you know, it's such a tough position because as a somewhat healthy person, I have noticed that a lot of people are not willing to walk through the market anymore and get their groceries. They just sit on their chair and kind of like bash around and then they get up and then they drive off or whatever.
Like Wall-E.
By their chair, do you mean their rascal, their lark?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, not theirs, but like the grocery stores, like they get out of their car and then they go and sit on one of these electric vehicles and get their groceries.
You're so kind. She's like electric vehicle chair.
But you know what I mean? Like, it's just like, it's hard. It's like hard to know when you're so supposed to like feel sympathetic or be like, you are acting like an invalid, but you're not, you know, like you can get up and walk through the grocery store and get your groceries, but you're choosing to sit on a chair and then bash around and I hate to say bash around, but like,
well, you've seen one try to run me over, so that's why you use the term bash around.
Yeah, that's exactly it. I
Personal story. Side note.
You did have somebody that was in one of these vehicles.
I think they watched me on the YouTubes.
Yeah, she knows you. But it's hard to decipher like who's actually needing help or not.
Yeah, everybody's on a Wall-E machine.
Yeah, dude.
Or Thomas Cruise hover round.
Yep.
Remember those?
There's one other thing I want to add about this, because I used to work at a toy store. I'm sure it's still true today as it was back then. The Barbie dolls are highly sought after collector's items. There are full-grown adults that obsessively collect these things, especially when there's a special gimmick to it like this. So I bet you anything that the vast majority of them will be not opened from the box, not actually played with. And I don't think it's actually for the kids. I think this is for the parents and just
was an
this
episode of
general
Pawn
propaganda
Stars.
push.
Yeah.
Was it really? Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I mean, no, dude, some of these new Barbie dolls, they would make exclusively just for collectors items, Barbie dolls. They would come in these fancy looking packages. They were $100, $200 for a freaking Barbie doll. It was insane.
They're
Like,
like,
oh, there's a limited number of 5,000 of this Cinderella Barbie doll officially licensed by Disney, and people went nuts for that shit. It's crazy.
I just found out that Mattel partnered with T1D in 2019 and made specific accoutrement for this. So it was a few years ago, and that it was inspired by various influencers, a Peloton instructor who had it, and etc. But
instructor.
yeah, but I think it's important to keep in mind that, first of all, the creator of Barbie, Ruth Handler, which means that it was named after her daughter Barbie, so she's a Barbie handler. Founded a medical company. She was part of Barbie is mixed in with mastectomies and the women's thing from the very beginning, and also the entire movie Barbie that came out a couple of years ago. Remember was it Barbie and Oppenheimer? Barbenheimer.
I actually really liked it.
Yeah, the movie was about Barbie's mental health, and it was about Barbie trying to become a real woman, a real girl, and
a real human being.
It was a Pinocchio story.
She didn't have a context based in any sort of reality because she lived in Barbie land, and she immediately went to real land, and it was like. It was almost like when all of us experienced 2020. I'm going to go to Mark Anderson after Basil and Analyzer here. But like Oppenheimer and Barbie, and you pointed this out, Jay pointed this out, a lot of astute, cultural analysts pointed this out, or a handful. I think we know most of them. It's like you and Jay and Jamie and a few others. But you guys pointed this out, and here we are, years later, literally years later, looking at the significance of this. And it's like, we're talking about T1D Barbie here, and it's like that's actually pretty pedestrian. You could have colostomy bag Barbie, or leprosy Barbie, or COVID-19 Barbie, and that would be perfectly fine in this day and age. But carry on, Based.
Well, part of this is that if this is based around, it's interesting that Barbie has no, she's hollow, and that the whole thing is based around blood, and so that the Barbie movie, part of the Barbie movie, and wanting to be a real girl in a weird Pinocchio story, is, aside from the Gnostic parts of Barbie, which are pretty obvious, especially now, where we have a character who's in a false reality and breaking on through the other side, she's trying to establish her identity, and she establishes her identity through her mental health decline. And the person that she appeals to in the movie is not the kid, it's the mother. The mother has veered away from her innocence as a child, and she can get this through being in doll world. So when she contacts the mother, that's when she's able to go back to Barbie world and have it's not personhood that she wants. It's to be a further doll. And the fact that, especially since 2020, and sort of the whole notion of this is that the human populace, we're all sort of like dolls, or cadaver dolls, or dolls to be experimented on by the whole big frame industry. So I think there's like you guys are saying, there's a far more, obvious, insidious intent with this, that's under the guise of being something innocent, as if we live in a world where girls who play with Barbies are the normalized thing now, as if that's a thing anymore.
Right. So. And you posted this link before we move on to Mark here. World's most dangerous toy. radioactive atomic energy lab kit with uranium from 1950. What's the significance here?
Well, it just shows you that there's a history of toys with with not just something metaphorical or something we read into or whatever. This was a toy in 1950. This is a pretty infamous toy, another Pawn Stars thing that had uranium. It literally had uranium for making an atomic weapon in the toy before they got rid of it. This kind of goes
Iran.
yeah. This kind of goes along with like when I turned 10 years old, I got a like a Capcom or something semi-automatic rubber bullet gun with a clip, and it was like a Tech 9, and it was a real rubber bullet gun. Then they started using them in riot controls, but it was a toy, and so they banned them for kids because it was, people were robbing stores with them. It always seems like it filters down to this.
Did it like hurt people? Like
it hurt my friends when I shot them with it.
Okay, so it like caused
but it did. Yeah, it did cause bruises. It did cause bruises. Yeah, it was a real rubber bullet gun.
Riot control. Baselit analyzer riot control, everybody. Yeah. Youthful riot control. I like that. Mark Anderson, what do you think, man? You've seen the character narrative arc of Barbie over the years. Maybe picked up a couple things along the way here. I don't know if you saw the Barbie movie, but that came out in 2020 or 2021, something like that. And it was one of the, actually, Barbie and Oppenheimer were sort of the only two big summer hits.
They were.
Yeah, like of 23. Thanks, Ruckus. So what do you think, Mark? We're interested to hear your take on this.
Well, remember, Barbie also showed up in one of the Toy Story movies. She had a group of bikini-clad gals, and they went driving down the floor of a building in a kind of a Beach Boy mobile. And so Barbie also made an appearance in one of the Toy Story movies. I didn't happen to catch the other Barbie movie, and I somehow missed it growing up. I did not own a Ken or a Barbie, although my sister did. I preferred lawn darts and firecrackers. Lawn darts were a whole lot of fun. And the old joke, field dressed a cat, cap guns, BB guns, pellet guns. That's mostly what I had. I had Lincoln Logs.
Dude, me too. My favorite was the Lincoln Logs. Like before I got, into the G.I. Joe and He-Man and Transformers era, it was Lincoln Logs. And one of my favorite first toys I can remember was my dad bought me a Chips play set. So I had my big wheel and a fake revolver and fake handcuffs and all that stuff.
I'm from Virginia, so we had Lee Logs. No.
Lee Logs? What is that?
What you sparked my memory. I had a cowboy hat, I had a cowboy suit, I had a fake gun, a cap gun, and I would dress like a cowboy and I'd have the cap gun.
Yeah.
And then we would go play Army. I had a plastic, kind of like a M1 Garand plastic miniature, and I would come home full of sandburrs, just covered in sandburrs, absolute dirt everywhere, just dirt everywhere. It was, it wasn't sanitized like it was today. Like just wasn't there.
No.
And no, this wasn't in the 1860s. It was in the 1960s. Point of clarity. But it was all just lawn darts, Lincoln Logs, fake guns, cap guns, the occasional firecracker. And then when I was 8 years old, I got a toy drum set with a real snare drum, and everything else was thrown away, and I was just a drummer from then on.
A real snare drum? Oh, your mom, folks may not know this. New folks to the Boiler Room may not know this. Old schoolers know this, but Mark Anderson's mom is the original conspiracy theorist. We're sitting here self-aggrandizing a little bit about our conspiracy theories of 15 years ago. Never mind. That's child's play. Mark Anderson's mom, God bless her soul, she was the one that got Mark where he was. And when we met Mark in 2018, it was just like we were best friends right off the rip because he just, he knows how to journalism, and boy, his mama taught him well.
Yeah, she passed away in September of 2023. Yeah, when I was little, she'd go, you see that smiley face? They brought out the smiley face. She goes, that's probably CIA.
Mark, you know what? Speaking of the smiley face, I got to give a shout out to my grandma, God rest her soul, also, because she bought me. We had a place where I grew up called Record and Tape Connection, and I made her take me to the Record and Tape Connection one day when I was in like 7th grade, and she bought me a tie-dyed Slayer shirt with a demon crucified on a cross, like a white and black Slayer shirt. And she also bought me something else, and it was like stuff, that she would totally not understand, but at the same time, like, she was the type of lady that would go watch Frank Sinatra and stuff in Tahoe. So yeah, she wasn't in it like your mom, but at the same time, she supported me being kind of a freak show when I was an adolescent.
My grandma was the same way.
Oh yeah. Jill's grandma.
She was just like
Hooked us both up.
Amazing. Like, I mean, she died when she was 99, I think. And she was just so, like, whatever it was that I was doing, whether it was like a shitty career path or in a bad relationship or whatever, she just supported me. It was just, she was awesome.
Barbie products are often distributed through USAID.
Oh, not anymore, bitch.
Well, I mean, okay, so my older sister, she's about 7 years older than me. She had the Barbie that actually made, so she had like one of those fancy Barbies that like did something, and it would like
Black Plague Barbie.
Well, no, she would do kisses. Like you could like press a button on the back and it would like make a kiss mark on you or something.
The 80s
like,
were so innocent.
But it was like, I mean, obviously very fake and whatever. But like having like, I don't know, they didn't have diseases back then.
That's funny because I remember the kissing Barbie, and me and my friends used to make fun of it and called it the cooties Barbie, which was that is a legitimate disease. Ask any boy.
Cooties. No, and I was so jealous of her for having that Barbie because I mean I actually really loved Barbies. I loved what they were able to wear, like their dresses and things like that. Like you could have all sorts of fancy dresses for your Barbies and stuff.
My little sister had the pink Barbie car.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah,
the Barbie dream car. Is that what you're talking about?
Now
the pink,
I'm just
beach
jealous.
Barbie car. Yeah.
Shit.
I never had the car.
I was into GI Joes and Photon. I remember Photon. You remember what that was? And I was into GI Joe. But remember GI Joe? GI Joe had obvious. They had CIA plot lines in the cartoon. But do you remember that GI Joe had one of the first cryptocurrencies because there was Cobra currency Cobra currency. Yeah. Yeah, and it was a crypto. It was a computer coin.
Really? I didn't know that.
I actually liked the laser tag ripoff because they had laser tag, and Photon was like the more affordable Kmart version of laser tag.
Yeah, there were two different Photons, but that became they never worked. So like, I would go to a friend's house and when Duck Hunt came out, and I remember cutting the cord off the Duck Hunt and saying, "Let's go play." He got so mad.
Oh, dude, that's rude.
He said, "If you, I cut the cord so I could have a Duck Hunt gun." It was cool. He was pissed.
If you find one of those, you can
buy that version of Duck Hunt and Mario Brothers.
There are these online blogs that'll show you how to convert the old Duck Hunt gun into something you can aim at your alarm clock to turn your alarm clock off when you wake up.
Pretty cool.
Now we're
talking.
Badass.
Yeah.
He said that if you pointed it in his eyes, it would blind him, and I was like this.
Let's test it.
Yeah.
All right.
10 years later, he developed diabetes.
Yeah. He's a surgeon now. So,
T1D. He's in the T1D community now.
yes.
And now we have
Yeah.
a doll to model him.
All right, Mark, any further thoughts on Icebreaker before we move along here? We got some other stuff we need to talk about.
Oh, I think we can push forward and move on. Now it makes me almost want to pick one of those up just in case they get, like really valuable or something.
Yeah. Yep. You could sell it on eBay or something. I got 10 years from now. It's so weird with toys. I think Ruckus and I both used to collect McFarlane toys and other toys from like horror movies and stuff. And there's this weird, like, it's almost like being a comic book collector. Like there'll be, years where they're worth only what they were cost you at Walmart. And then years where
in the garage.
they go down and years in the garage. And like, if you kept them mint, 15 years later, they'll go for a good price. Like, when a new movie comes out or something like that. But it's very similar. But yes, Mark, you're absolutely right. There is a path to return on investment with things like a T1D Barbie doll. So let's see. Thrifty tips from the boiler room. All right. If no one else has anything to throw in about T1D Barbie or World's Most Dangerous Toy, Radioactive Atomic.
Yeah, the most valuable Barbie ever sold was $302,000.
Holy shit!
It was the breast cancer research Barbie.
Oh, get out of here! Okay,
I'm not kidding. Which featured a rare 1-carat pink diamond.
So I got to ask then. Okay, if you searched that, did you use an AI or did you use a?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm curious. Ask it the same question, but what the most valuable G.I. Joe, Transformer, or He-Man ever was.
The G.I. Joe is the 1963 G.I. Joe prototype. And that was for $200,000.
See, girls, you win. Your Barbie.
I guarantee it was the guy that bought that Barbie, though.
Yeah, you're probably right. Yeah. But still, okay, Mattel, Hasbro, your girl toys are worth more than your boy toys. I'm not even going to bother with He-Man or Transformers because G.I. Joe is the pinnacle.
I didn't have Transformers. I had GoBots.
GoBots were dope, dude. I had both. And they were both.
If you know, you know. Yeah. GoBots.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, so let's shift gears here. Thank you, Spore. Thank you, Ruckus, for the icebreaker there. Spore, you're welcome to hang out as long as you like tonight. We appreciate you taking the time to join us tonight. But we got to talk about what is the number now? We're going to talk about a little bit about weather modification and all of this stuff because we had a terrible tragedy.
Talking about this old news, weather modification,
right? I mean, this is such old news to people like us, but for some reason, it has become mainstream over the last week. And
we have like 180 something people still missing, and 180 people still missing in Texas.
Yeah. Okay. All right. That's an update to me. Last I heard it was 170, but it seems to go up by a dozen or so every day. So
I mean, it's crazy because like I was just telling you, Hesher, yesterday, and I don't think I told you, Ruckus, but down the road from us, yesterday at 12:35 p.m. The Belton River, it's actually a creek. It's called the Nolan Creek. It went up from 5 feet to 10 feet within 80 minutes. At 12:35 it started. And so like there are these places that are getting the runoff of what's been happening for like the last 4 or 5 days that it was like sunny and not raining or anything when it rose. So like, I mean, there's still a lot going on here, and I have a good I mean, a colleague at work, that a good friend that, it's just like the storms keep happening and the runoffs keep happening as well. And people are, it's really weird because I don't know if it's weird. I don't know. Everything is weird right now, but it's interesting that I think about a week ago, Brian Hesher, you and I had seen a post on our local Facebook group about a girl that was swimming in Trash Creek or Garbage Alley, which is behind our house, which is basically like, it's just like a sewage area. There's this girl that was swimming out there, and like somebody like took pictures of her and posted it up. It's just saying like, hey, I just saw this little girl like out there in the drainage area. And luckily her, parents saw the post and got their daughter, and she was apparently autistic. And it's just really, I mean, this whole like flooding situation is just making everything worse. Like, no matter whether you have autistic children or not, these flash floods are seem non-natural, especially since we live at the top of the hill. But just in Texas in general, like having these things happen so consistently for so many days is just it seems like there's just an extra element this year.
Yeah. So for our viewers and listeners across the pond and in other places who may not have heard yet, we've had on Independence Day weekend here in Texas, we've had historic flooding, and there are 170 plus 180 people confirmed dead and or missing, and the number seems to keep growing. It happened in a certain part of Texas, southwest of Austin. Our friends at
Southeast.
I thought it was southwest toward San Antonio.
Yes, that's actually southeast. Sorry.
Okay, if you say so. Anyways, Mark and I were talking about this earlier today, and there's the current event conversation, which is Camp Mystic, the devastating amount of young people missing, the rising water into the floodplain, all that is specific to that location. But then, if which is horrible just on its face, really kind of ruined Independence Day here in Texas and across the nation, quite frankly, because a lot of people had to think about sending their children to summer camp and how common that is, and what it would be to not have them come home. But then there's this sort of other layer to it where it's like, fitting in with the theme of tonight. It was only just a few years ago we weren't, the mainstream media, the mass media cartel, as Mark has named it, would buck back against any mention of weather modification. And now, after, what is it, 5, 6, 7 years of us knowing Mark and thinking about this together over the years, we're at a place where, and we benchmarked this all the way from there to here, where back there it was something you weren't allowed to talk about. It was something that would cast you into social rejectum. And now it's like, yeah, we have companies that do this. We have, all these rage bait articles about Bill Gates and Tony Blair and others that want to blot out the sun in certain countries. We've got the cloud seeding device that they had out at Moss Landing in California, which we discussed on this show a decade ago, 10 years ago. And now here in Texas, which we covered on this show more than a year ago, we have permits being given out that are publicly available for cloud seeding, for all this other stuff. And now the mass media, they sort of soft pedal this. It's like we went from shut up conspiracy theorist, it doesn't exist, to oh, shut up conspiracy theorist, you're not allowed to talk about it. It does exist, but you're not allowed to talk about it. It's not nefarious in any way, shape, or form. Don't worry about it. If you don't understand science, you're not allowed to talk about it. Well, we're here to tell you you are allowed to talk about it. You should be allowed to talk about it. And if your tax dollars are going into funding any of these operations, those that are doing it should be mandated to tell you how your tax dollars are being spent. So at least that's where my interest lies. I don't want to focus on the tragedy of it all, although I will acknowledge it. I think it's fucked. I think it's disgusting, much like Lahaina, much like North Carolina, much like other places, much like East Palestine, Ohio, and Flint, Michigan. You know, we could go on and on and on. This is not right. And the answers should be available to the public who pay the salaries of the EPA, of the state agencies that, you know, work at the behest of the EPA and whatnot. So I'm going to hand it over to Mark Anderson to talk about this flooding incident a little bit, and then we'll all kind of respond. But Mark, you and I spoke earlier, and we're both kind of, as Texans, taking personal offense to what we've seen go on, because not only did this just happen, but as we reported on Boiler Room many, many months ago, we were being threatened with fire dangers, extreme fire hazards and whatnot. And we came in and said, well, okay, we're at a point now where they've admitted that they have weather modification, cloud seeding, and the ability to make rain. So why are they not making it rain here? Why are they leaving us in fire danger? You know, and now we've got this situation where the ground here in Texas is so saturated that any area can just turn into like a clay bed, basically, or any creek or river could rise, you know, 3, 4, 5, 10, 35 feet in a matter of minutes. And we're to believe that even though there's a Peter Thiel associated, you know,
Rainmaker.
modification crew,
Yeah.
that we're not allowed to talk about it or ask questions about it. And that's kind of where I'm at with this whole topic. So Mark, what do you think, man? And by the way, you're going to be featured on ukcolumn.org. You can see the sticker up there behind Mark tomorrow morning to talk about this in more detail also. But Mark, what do you got for us tonight?
Well, for one thing, I learned today, I've been making a lot of phone calls. I don't get a lot of calls back and emails back. It's funny that a lot of people involved in the cloud seeding industry are not very publicly engaging people. When you call, you always get a voicemail. It's very rare that someone will actually pick up the phone. It seems like they're set up to screen their calls and only call back those they want to call back. That being said, I learned that Rainmaker was licensed or subcontracted through the South Texas Weather Modification Association. So that South Texas Weather Mod organization kind of subcontracted Rainmaker to do some, not a lot apparently, but some cloud seeding on or around July 2nd in an area about 140 miles southeast of Kerrville in Kerr County. On the opposite side of San Antonio at kind of a diagonal angle. And I called the only newspaper in that area in Karn County, Karne, or Kearney or Karnes County. And it's the only newspaper in that county. And I wanted to see if they ran if there was a legal ad that ran, because there's a public notice requirement. If you're a licensee, you're a cloud seeding company and you get a license from the Texas Department of Licensing and Regulation, there's a public notice requirement. So it usually results in a legal ad being published in a newspaper of very little consequence. There's all sorts of little weeklies all throughout Texas. They're all members of the Texas Press Association, the TPA. And all these little bodunk towns have little tiny newspapers. It's amazing that they survive. But this paper, I actually talked to the guy that edits and keeps track of the legal ads. And he said there was no legal ad, at least in that newspaper, the only one in that county, which was sort of the epicenter of where the cloud seeding by Rainmaker supposedly took place. There's a town there, I believe it's called Runge, Runge. I think it's pronounced Runge. And so at least there, where there's only one newspaper, there was no evidence of a ad being published to fulfill the public notice requirement of having a cloud seeding license. That's not necessarily unusual, but I thought I would find it there. He would have known, he said, because he has a list. He can automatically put in keywords, names of companies and so on. And if it was there, he believes he would have found it. So maybe it's a neighboring county that there's another newspaper where they put a legal ad in, which would have been like maybe mid-June. And it would announce, and I've seen these ads before, it would announce that the Texas regulators have approved a cloud seeding project on so-and-so date, so-and-so duration, to spray silver iodide probably for the purposes of X, Y, and Z. So I'm still trying to sniff that out, but I also found out, not that I'm surprised by it, but the Texas Department of Licensing and Regulation says this, and this is interesting, and if I understand it right, it's any citizen can call, get this, any citizen can call for a public hearing on a cloud seeding project. So this is something that I'm seriously considering, along with some other people I know that live around Texas, that we're actually going to call for one and see if they'll respond. Maybe Ron Avery would be game. But what has to happen, regardless of what someone thinks about cloud seeding, whether they think it was somehow responsible for what happened in Kerr County or not, it has to be brought out of the shadows. Hesher, you were talking about how the media at first didn't acknowledge it, and now they kind of want to make it their own, and only they can talk about it. And oftentimes they only talk about it if they're criticizing people like us for bringing it up. But the thing is it needs to be brought out of the shadows the rest of the way, and it needs to become part of a common vernacular, part of the day-to-day, week-to-week, month-to-month conversation that there is such a thing as cloud seeding and weather modification. And the guy that heads up Rainmaker did a video, a video interview, and he made a distinction between geoengineering in general and cloud seeding in particular. So there's a tacit admission that there's geoengineering of a more complex sort, besides something more simplistic that's been around since the days of World War II, and that's cloud seeding. So I'm just trying to track the factual footprint of this thing, the licensing, the publicly required announcements, the idea that you can call for a public hearing, and to bring it all the way into public view. And I even called the local ABC affiliate, KRGV, just down the street from me, and I talked to one of their news directors, a guy named Jose, and I told them kind of what I'm saying now. I said, you guys need to flesh this out. I'm not saying cloud seeding is sinister, I told them. I'm not saying it was responsible for Camp Mystic. All I'm saying is that when you talk about the weather on TV and you don't talk about all the ways weather can be affected, you're doing the public a disservice, and you are licensed by the Federal Communications Commission to broadcast your newscast, and you have a public responsibility to tell people the truth about how the weather happens. And he, to be fair, he kind of got that. at least unless he was kind of giving me the brush off and just telling me what I wanted to hear. But I was basically saying, if your meteorologists talk about weather as only the random acts of nature, and they don't say, well, ladies and gentlemen, on Thursday night, there's going to be a cloud seeding operation 50 miles north of here, you might expect a little more rain than usual. I said, then you're being deceptive about the weather. And
Nice.
and so he kind of got that. I didn't lecture him. I was very matter of fact and polite about it. But that's just sort of where I'm at with it, trying to track the footprint of licensing and public notices, and get these things out in the open. The dude that runs Rainmaker, Augustus something or other, can't think of his last name.
Dorico, Doricko.
Thank you. Yeah, he did a long interview with this. I think it's Sean Ryan. Sean Ryan identifies himself as ex-Navy SEAL, ex-CIA contractor, which is curious.
The Sean Ryan show, 4 out of 5 episodes of it a week will be feel good, sort of like, oh, I'm looking behind the curtain sort of episodes. And then once a week will be a CIA shill, basically, who comes in and tells people to expect Al Qaeda attacks, or accept that their government has been sending tens of millions of dollars per day to the Taliban, that kind of thing. So, like, this would be the kind of thing. This is the Augustus Dorco.
He's done a huge press tour, and it's been going on for a while before this. I put a link in the private chat. I watched a video he did, a stream he did with a couple of fellas. I don't know when it was, and he's talking about a gundo where I don't know what any of that is, but he is discussing. One of the things he mentions in the video is how his next plan is boiling the oceans for proposed weather modification, and it's interesting watching these videos, because one of the things he mentions in the video is how he had just been to Tennessee to talk to lawmakers about reversing the reversal of chemtrails and cloud seeding, because they reversed it in Tennessee, said you can't do it. So he went to Tennessee to talk to lawmakers about how we should be doing it. And it's just like Mark was saying right there about how because he says in the video that the fringe right and left both have a problem with this. The conspiracy theorists on the right with their tinfoil hats have a problem with this, but we need to. And it's just like Mark was saying, that when you are messing with modifying the weather in any way or cloud seeding, I see this as an overall. I know people will see this in the chat too, but as an overall aspect or arm of a kind of spiritual warfare, because we live in a world where we are trying to play God, where people are playing God, and this is an affront to God, to changing the weather. He says in the video next week, he quotes Genesis and then says, well, now it's time we take dominion over the skies. And you can't say that without exuding some sort of like incredible hubris. So at the very least, like Mark is saying, you have to acknowledge that transparency is key if you're doing something like this, not to mention the fact that this was made before all this stuff has happened. But obviously people are going to think that if you had a contract doing this and you have 20 kids washed away in a camp and you've got 170 people missing and all these people dead, washed away in the night from what seems like obvious walls of water and operations going on, that people are going to be fucking pissed. So I don't know.
Yeah. It's
a crazy world.
Yeah, I'll add a little something. We can't forget that Augustus Doricko, maybe it was a Freudian slip as you called him Dorco. Maybe that's a more appropriate name. But Augustus Doricko was a Peter Thiel Fellow in 2024 and received a $100,000 Thiel Foundation grant. Of course, we don't need to make more of that than it is, but he is connected, clearly. And he seems to be sort of the star of the show, whereas in Texas, with much less fanfare, you have the South Texas Weather Mod Association, the West Texas Weather Mod Association, the and 3 or 4 others that are listed by the regulator just in Texas alone. There's a national umbrella weather mod association, and most states have something going on. And then National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, as I've mentioned before, will say that it's absurd to say that mankind can do all that much with the weather. And yet I've got it right at my fingertips that NOAA lists right on their website 11 or 12 ways you can modify the weather, not just cloud seeding. And they list it because you can be fined $10,000 if you do any of those 10 or 12 things without a license. So if you can be fined 10 grand for doing them without a license, that means they exist. That means they can be done. One of them is to use sound in the atmosphere, and that's NOAA's own listing. And another is to use lasers in the atmosphere. And that, again, is NOAA's own listing. I'm not making any of this up. There's no theory whatsoever going on here. And it's only a question of effects, right? Well, if we had the transparency, then we could begin to have a public conversation about Augustus Dorico and all sorts of other lesser stellar names out there, and have an honest assessment. Okay, maybe cloud seeding would be good to mitigate against drought and prevent fires, kind of like a reverse fire department. Why isn't it discussed in the same way when a highway department is going to close the highway down to 1 lane and there's a public notice on TV from exit 4 to exit 10 for 6 miles, there's going to be 1 lane. Please be careful. Maybe you'd want to take the side roads. There's going to be heavy snow tomorrow night. Be careful on the roads. Why is it that we don't get that from the meteorologists? Well, the University Texas A&M subcontracted through the South Texas Weather Mod Group to do cloud seeding early next week. Everyone be a little mindful that there could be unusual rain patterns. It would be the same kind of public service announcement, but we don't get that. All of a sudden we run into this opaque wall, and it's almost hush hush. It's like right on the brink of breaking out, and we need to break it the rest of the way out.
Yeah, this doesn't exist. And Ted Cruz comes out immediately and says there's no evidence for this, which obviously points everybody to go, well, then that's who did it. If you say it right, if you say it that quickly. And also I thought this didn't exist at all. But the guy's talking about, no, I went to go talk to lawmakers about a thing that doesn't exist because I want it to exist, but it doesn't exist.
That's where I keep going too. It's like, wait a minute, hold up, pump.
I thought this was a big conspiracy theory, right? Chemtrails over the country club. Like, oh yeah, it's a big, give me a fucking break, man.
Right?
I mean, like, these people are sick. These are sick people.
Okay, fine. We were right. No one wants to fucking hit pause and say, you know what, conspiracy theorist, you were right. Chemtrails are a thing. Cloud seeding is a thing. Persistent contrails is a thing. You just look up and you see them, and we've been making fun of you for 2 decades for pointing it out that that's happening. Fuck you. If we can't pause and say, actually, yes, as they've been pointing out on Boiler Room and all these other programs over the years, they were right. There are cloud seeding programs. We do have the ability to make rain. We do have the ability to affect, hurricanes and all this stuff. But we told you were insane. We told those people they were insane. We told people not to listen to those people for the last 20 years. But now it's like, yeah, we got this Dorco guy, and Dorco has a contract to do this with Texas. He's got money from Peter Thiel. Rejoice to have Peter Thiel in your country because he just brought $600 bazillion dollars to your fucking economy. And
you mean Peter Thiel? Should the human race continue? I don't know. It's a nuanced question, Peter Thiel.
Yeah, there's nuance to that one. We need to talk about that. Yeah, these guys. So they have an effect on the weather. Is that what you're telling me? And what Mark Anderson is saying is like absurd to ask for. A little bit of fucking transparency. Get the fuck out of here with that. We'll take the transparency, please, especially because our tax dollars are going into funding this stuff. So Mark, like, what do you think about that, man? Like, people like are unknowingly paying into these programs to companies like this getting state licenses. And again, I say this not as someone who is blaming Mr. Dorco or Rainmaker for and okay, Mark, before I go to you, let me just throw this out there in case anyone hasn't heard this yet. Augustus Dorco is the founder and CEO of Rainmaker, a company focused on cloud seeding and weather modification. All right, stop right there. Pump the fucking brakes. Tell us we were right. Tell us you're sorry for using your mass media cartel to lie to us for years and gaslight all our friends and family into saying that we were wrong because we were right. Anyways, carrying on. He's a former UC Berkeley student who dropped out to pursue his entrepreneurial ventures. Dorco is also a Thiel Fellow, indicating he received funding and support from the Thiel Foundation, associated with Peter Thiel, co-founder of Palantir, who we've covered ad nauseum on here. Peter Thiel's connection to Dorco and Rainmaker is primarily through the Thiel Fellowship and his investment network. Cloud seeding, with regards to cloud seeding and recent Texas floods, Rainmaker, the company aforementioned, has conducted cloud seeding operations in Texas following the recent deadly floods in Texas around the 4th of July this year, 2025. Questions arose regarding a potential link between Rainmaker's operations and the flooding. Dorco claims that the seeded clouds dissipated well before the flooding event, denying any casual link. He explained that cloud seeding is a localized phenomenon affecting relatively small areas, unlike the massive scale of the Texan floods, which were linked to the convergence of tropical moisture plumes. So I just want to throw that out there so that we've got.
So we get it. So it's different from the HARP machines and radar towers causing floods in Chicago, or
Yes.
Doppler radar being for. Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't. Is it?
Yeah. Do we have to just take the word from the media that has lied to us over and over and over and over and over again for the last 5, 10, 15 years? I mean, that's the problem here.
I mean, okay, so just to chime in a little bit here, and I hope I'm not getting you off track, but like the way that like certain portions of the population have reacted to these floods and the death of a ton of children and families, there are all sorts of very vile posts, such as Retro Texas, what you gonna do? There's no FEMA to pick you up at your boot camp. They just gave us ice. Texas deserves every flood God has spoken, and it hates Texas. God hates Texas. I mean,
those are from people that worship Satan.
Yeah, pretty much.
Apparently, I mean, but they're like, I could like do these for like, I could read these for like a really long time, and it's basically saying that, I mean, there are some that literally just say Texas voted for Trump, therefore the children should have died. It's just, I mean, this is
so
disgusting.
Fake. That's so fake. Sorry.
Yeah.
Well, it's sort of not, because you've got George Stephanopoulos on CNN saying that shit. You've got people saying that shit on live television. So there's a lot of that, and it's almost like outrage prawn. You know what I mean? It's like it's meant to just divide the South from the rest of the country, or the flyover states, or whatever.
Maybe chat. Some of the. I'm sorry, Sport. You go ahead.
No, go ahead, Baze.
I was going to say that it's some, people in chat, maybe they have a point, that maybe this guy's classic patsy, and this is a fall guy for the bigger thing going on with, that's been going on for years with HARP. I mean, we know about aerosolized atmosphere, and that's one of that was Operation ranch hand, wasn't it? That was the defoliating stuff. They've had lawsuits going with stuff like napalm, and in an overt way, but aerosolized bombing of defoliating things. One of the things that came out 4 days ago was that the chemical that's supposed to replace glyphosate is now twice as deadly. Apparently, this diquat. So the thing that replaces the thing is always worse. And so maybe that's part of the giant web of lies. But see, there's no penetrating the lie web.
Yeah,
You can't
man.
get it,
I mean, on your point there, this is kind of a tangent, but like, I mean, it's out and known now that like Trader Joe's is selling organic chicken meat, quote unquote organic, that has mRNA in it. So it's like, I mean, what, you think you're buying something organic and then you're getting a vaccine, basically. That is apparently like not doing a lot of people well.
Yeah. Mark, I know you got to get out of here, so I'll send it to you for any saved rounds or final thoughts you have for this boiler room.
Yeah, well, what was just mentioned there briefly hit on my concern that there might be kind of a fakery or sort of a maneuvering going on where they'll say, well, the masses of people are more and more concerned about getting a mRNA jab and having the whole human race vaccinated by dangerous vaccines or something like that, but that the concern might actually in reality be that they'll be vaccinating the animals against bird flu. In other words, what we eat will be vaccinated rather than us directly, as opposed to culling the chicken herds or culling the beef herds. They'll give them some sort of inoculation, and that will be in the meat that we eat and the eggs and the dairy and animal products. But that being said, I'll mention that U.S. Drought Monitor, going back a little bit to Kerr County, U.S. Drought Monitor reported that just before the flash flooding, that Kerr County was experiencing severe to exceptional drought conditions before the downpours began. And it was U.S. Drought Monitor's own summation that the dry spell likely contributed to the severity of the floods. Where the ground gets so hard, there's no permeability. I guess there's two things that can happen. The ground can be too hard to be permeable, or it can be so saturated that the water has nowhere to go but up. And so it's kind of like take your pick. But that comes back around to what Hesh and I were talking about even weeks ago, where we wonder why, with all the weather forecasting information and abilities that we have, we can look 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks into the future, and we can see that they don't expect to have any rain. Of why any society would allow its vegetation, its farms, its forests, and so on to get so dry that a massive fire, forest fire, grass fires, etc., would be that much more likely. If a single lawn owner has a dry lawn, he waters it. If a neighborhood of homeowners has dry lawns, they get together and they talk over the fence and they water their lawns, right? Farmers have, if they can afford it, farmers have irrigation. But somehow, as at society at large, somehow we fail to prepare for the outcome of a drought. And then we end up having all these massive fires, although there's a lot of other things that are alleged to be going on with those that causing them, and the weird patterns and the weird characteristics of those fires. But there's no time to discuss that right now. But society just seems to have this sort of learned helplessness where we have the technology to predict and to explain and to know things, but we can't seem to act on that knowledge to prevent bad things from happening and to become a better society and a better civilization because of it. Instead, we just have people, very, very wealthy people with all these connections throwing their weight around. and carrying out projects. And the only thing I'll say about Augustus Dorico and Rainmaker, and their claims about, and maybe they're being honest that what they did was very small, and it probably had little or nothing to do with the situation in Kerr County and Kerrville and all that. But that assumes that Rainmaker's telling us the truth. We don't know if they're telling us the truth. And, we're taking their word for it. I'm not calling them a liar. All I'm saying is we're taking their word for it. Is that good enough? Probably not.
Yeah, and why are we expected to take their word for it when we've been told that this technology doesn't even exist and that we're weird for asking for information about it? And if it is existing and if it is being used to help humanity in some way, shape, or form, then why were these droughts not addressed by them in the first place? And why are we to still be told to shut up and trust the science after everything that we've seen? So, I mean, they're fundamental questions. We're not casting blame, which you'll see a lot of. Rightfully so. Rightfully skeptical people on social media casting blame just because they are so skeptical of technocrats, government, corporate entities, and the like. So you can't blame them. But again, it's like, did someone not wargame this out? Did someone not ask Grok or GPT how this was going to go before it all happened? And did someone say, yes, that's absolutely the national conversation that we want to be had right now? One of confusion, one of disdain, one of horror, considering the relation to what happened a few days ago. So here we are. These questions could be easily answered by a mea culpa from science, from media, from government, and things could be made right very easily just by telling us what these programs are, what they're meant for, why when a company gets a license to do this, they get it for 4 years, what kind of regulation is happening behind that. Is there a variety of programs for a variety of different things? Are most logistical? Are most meant to do specific things that they've proven out? Why has the public not been told that they're proven out? And what about the things that haven't happened? What if this technology is for our own benefit? Why are we having droughts? Why are these things happening? Why not explain to the people who are putting tax dollars towards their state and federal programs that do these things? Why not be honest with them? Why not shut these conversations down? We would love to be talking, guys. Am I wrong? We would love to be talking about something else right now rather than wargaming potential corporate and government weather modification. But we have to do that because they leave all these open-ended questions around while they're actually charging us money, slave labor money, to make these things happen. I mean, I don't know. Mark, I'll hand it to you because I know you got to go. So you get us first. You get us out of here. Give us your final comments.
Well, yeah, it's almost like a game in a way, right? Limited hangout, revelation of the method. We're gonna reveal that these technologies exist, companies exist, the licensing exists, and yet at the same time we're gonna act like it's more or less hush hush. And if you raise your voice or ask questions, you're the problem. Augustus Derico, he's a pretty boy. He's a dream team guy. He's a Teal fellow. There couldn't be anything wrong. Billionaires just have the best interests of people at heart. And it's almost like they're taunting people in a way, to we dare you to knock this off our shoulder. We dare you to speak up. We're given every reason to speak up, and then we're criticized when we do. And yet it's just a matter of sound journalism and sound being a good citizen, not just a good journalist, and just saying, you're taking my money to license these things. NOAA at the national level is taxpayer supported, and et cetera, et cetera. Even the media outlets indirectly through the FCC are media supported to get their broadcast licenses. They want to control the airwaves, and it appears they want to try and control the weather patterns to some degree. Maybe not a lot, where they can to profit. And we see a system that we're trying to describe and understand, and we're trying to see what it's about and where they're going with it. And at every corner, we're frustrated or pushed back. And so it truly is an info war in a lot of ways. All warfare is informational. And we just want honesty and transparency. We're not the troublemakers. It's those that are managing the system, the micromanagers, that admit one thing and deny it without the other side of their mouth. They're obviously playing a game of some sort here. And we just want straight talk, and they won't give it to us.
Yeah. We're tired of the legalese, the globalese, the
Right.
short attention span, all this shit. Like, we actually have a longer term memory than the average pleb here. And I know you do too, if you're watching this show or listening to this show. And like, this needs to be rectified, Mark. There needs to be, it doesn't have to be, I'm sorry we propagandized you. I'm sorry Al Gore was wrong. I'm sorry Greta was wrong before she took up a new cause. It doesn't need to be that. It just needs to be, hey, this is the situation. It doesn't even need to be, hey, this is why we got it wrong. It just needs to be, hey, this is the situation today. Cloud seeding exists. These things exist experimentally. Some people do them to blot out the sun because they believe in, green agendas, and some people do them to make sure that the fruit trees bear and that floods don't happen or that droughts don't happen. That's all we're really saying here, right?
One last thing, when you were reading that descriptive information a little bit ago to kind of set the tone, it said that we do cloud seeding and weather modification. Note the language: cloud seeding and weather modification. Cloud seeding is a form of weather modification. So that's a tacit admission linguistically that there's something besides cloud seeding.
Yes. Multiple goals. And why would it not? Like, think about this, especially if you work in tech or science. Like, if you're on the pointy end of the spear in tech, science, tech, anything like that, and you're discovering new routes to using tech or whatever, like, generally speaking, it comes out in a way that you don't expect, a multidisciplinary way that is may perhaps not expected when you go into it. So advancements in math equal advancements in engineering and other realms that you may not have predicted. And it's the same with advancements in weather modification. Like, let's just be, we're trying, at least, Mark and I talked about this. We're doing our best to be agnostic about the technology. We're commenting on the financial, the propaganda, the psychological operation, the connection to the push for people to accept austerity in under the worldview that they have caused changes in the weather patterns, and also to accept billionaire groups as philanthropists, which has been a huge human folly for 100 years. All right, Mark, I know you got to go. So again, I'll send it to you for final thoughts and we'll let you get out of here, man.
Well, there's not much more to say. Yeah, I got to get my sleep here. Friday mornings to UK column. It
They're
comes in
early.
a hurry and it's early. But yeah, just well, don't lose spirit out there. I really think we're winning. Ultimately, the information war to get these things front and center out in the open, to live in the so-called democratic society that we're told that we're living, but we don't. We simply demand that they get real and give us the society that we're told we have, but we don't have it. So it's time for the governors to produce. It's time for them to get out of the way and do their duty.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. ukcolumn.org. That's where you find Mark Anderson on Fridays. On Wednesdays, find him at Republic Broadcasting Network doing Stop the Presses, and often here in the Boiler Room. Mark, thanks so much for being here tonight. Appreciate a fellow Texan help us grind this out.
Yeah, no problem. Good night, everybody. Good job, everybody. See you later.
All
Thanks,
right.
Mark.
Peace,
Yeah,
bud.
take care.
All righty. There he goes. That's Mark Anderson, everybody.
I just,
Yeah, Spore, go ahead.
I just wanted to say, and Ruckus said that those quotes were fake or whatever. But there have been a couple of instances where people have been fired from their jobs because of what they said about the past lives of the people that drowned in the floods. And there was one woman in Houston. She worked for the city for a while. I think she lost her job after she said something similar to, like, it's your fault, like, if it was Mexicans and blah blah blah, you would just let them drown. Or it was just like, I mean, really abhorrent comments. And she lost her job. And then there was another one, Brian, I mentioned to you yesterday, where I can't remember which agency she worked for, but she was a teacher. And she was talking about the children that had died, and said that basically because, Texas voted for Trump, that they should have died.
That was particularly disgusting, that one.
Yeah. So, I mean, Ruckus, you said that those were fake, but I do think some of them are real. And
Of course, but I'm saying when you say that there's especially when you see a shit ton of them and all repeating the same thing and all at the same time, and like they're bots, they're mass accounts, it's on purpose, and usually it serves it's good for Trump, it's good for the MAGA crowd. Whether they want to admit it or not, they're the ones that get rage baited by it. But at the end of the day, it serves look. Everybody hates Trump. I don't know why. They won't give me credit, but that's okay. It's a stupid shit. They're like, oh, see how crazed liberal Democrats are. They don't even care when kids die. I really think that there's a lot of that going on too.
yeah, I'm sure you're right.
The libs of TikTok effect.
It just doesn't. Even though there's bots out there, like, there are real people saying this stuff, and they think this stuff, and that's, I think,
Well, the
more
interesting-
important than bots.
The interesting thing, Spore, I think, is that like a lot of those real people that said stuff like that and lost their jobs or whatever might have even been influenced by the bots. Like they are, you know what I mean? Like we don't know where the original injection point to some of these talking points are. And it's very possible that like Grok itself or, different people that are paid to goon on social media.
Okay, so like I totally get what you're trying to say here, but my point is that, like, there are real human beings that have lost their lives, and whether there's bots out there talking about it or not, like even if they're just like people that are like putting this into their chat engine and like getting these comments and putting them up, it doesn't matter. Like, the fact is, there are people that are fucking have died through this, whatever, sky seed storms. Like, and there are people that are being abrasive or almost acting like it was their fault. And whether they're putting it in the chat GPT to make those comments or not, or whatever, that is disgusting, frankly. Whether they're not, I mean, maybe it's not their original comment,
Do we
But
need social media for this type of an outcome? Or, I mean, it doesn't help when our politicians travel across overseas to the Middle East to sign their fucking signature on bombs and say, finish them all. And then we see the pictures of the kids missing their limbs and their heads. It's the same. I mean, it's a disgusting, cruel, evil world. And social media certainly doesn't help. And I see what you're saying. And we saw exactly how disgusting people were during the 2020 thing. Holy moly. They were literally saying, oh, you deserve to die. But that was a coping mechanism for those individual people. I don't know how this fits in with the flooding thing. I don't get it. It's too political for me to believe. Yes, I do believe that there was probably a small handful of people that truly believe that, but they probably wouldn't act that way. That's the social media effect. Me and Jamie were talking about this when I was on her show not that long ago, how the social media turns you into an asshole because you're hiding behind. We're all familiar with this effect. We say and do things on social media that we would never do or say to the people in real life. And so I think there's a lot of that going on. But when somebody's losing their job over it, they took it too far. That's a mentally deranged person who is a victim of the social media mind virus bullshit, whatever the psychological operations. That she was the perfect target, or he, whoever it was, right?
So based, this seems like we're kind of bumping up against that membrane of like everything people believe, they'll have succeeded when everything people believe is messed up. It's almost like Ruckus and Spore are saying here. It doesn't really matter if it was a chicken or the egg, if it was a bot or the propaganda, an injected line, or something that NPC humans were just ready to receive and amplify that, we now live in the doom scroll here. So it's almost like, I think that the moral of the story here is almost like this is the kind of event and topic that turns people to nihilism, turns people to blue pill, turns people off from trying to figure out what's even going on, right? Because
okay, so let me just read this quote that Patrick Henningsen posted today. It says, quote, tolerance will reach such a level that intelligent people will be banned from thinking so as not to offend the imbeciles.
Yeah,
By
peace
pre-ordered.
is war, freedom is slavery.
Yeah.
You will believe what we tell you to believe, and it doesn't matter what it is. And I think you guys make a great point that when things like this happen, big events. One thing that I was discussing this on a stream today or yesterday, that one of the things that comes out of all this stuff is, and this probably leads into the Jeff Stein McEffrey stuff, is that at some point, everyone kind of realizes that the system itself runs on big events. It runs on invasion, war, weather events, and that more nuanced things can be pretty much easily dismissed with, oh, you mean that thing from a few years ago? Oh, that's over. And
that
gets
guy
lost.
again, this guy.
Yeah, all of that nuance gets lost in any sort of system of critical thinking. And Bertrand Russell and Julian Huxley both talked about this, that the ultimate way of steering the population towards Depop is through stabbies and through food control and weather systems and all these things that are not allowed to be talked about and are not talked about in MSM. It's like the thing that everyone in alt media, the reason alt media exists really, which is that the two sides of the same coin, man, which is true, which is that when I turn on Boomer Fox News to have some noise in the background, the first thing I see is the interview with the cloud seeding guy, and that's what the emphasis is on, is about the virtues of that, as opposed to the thing going on in Texas. But then it switches to, this is now this is Ted Cruz was so bad in the Tucker interview that now that's all washed away. Literally, I mean, the flood washed all that away. That's where people see him as he flew back over from Greece in his vacation. So I think that people come out of this stuff with one of two pills. You know, they either take the white pill, or they take the Christ pill, or they take the black pill. And a lot of people kind of go into an existentialist dread where they just say, you know, nothing fucking matters anymore, which is an unhealthy place to be. And I think it just, you know, the ultimate discernment and critical thinking are obviously paramount for this stuff. But it just continues. It just never stops.
That seems to be the most basic bitch place that they're trying to push everybody is into the nihilism cul-de-sac, right? Like go down nihilism loop, everybody. Go down nihilism court, and down there, it's not bad. We got friends, we got alcohol, we got weed, we got Netflix, we got Apple TV, we got.
You used to have OxyContin if you were, you know, but if you're a war vet and you got your legs blown off, now you don't have that either. So
right,
some
now
people
you
have
gotta-
Q. That right.
Yeah, you could trust the plan down there in the cul-de-sac. You can, you know, do all these things.
I'm hitting the copium a little too hard this week.
Yeah, it's a good year for the copium. You mentioned Bertrand Russell there. Let's see here. Let me just throw this little quote out here because I was kind of referencing William Casey a minute ago. Here's Bertrand Russell from The Impact of Science on Society, 1953, page 30. Quote, "It may be hoped that in time anybody will be able to persuade anybody of anything if he can catch the patient young and is provided by the state with money and equipment. This subject will make great strides when it is taken up by scientists under a scientific dictatorship. Anaxagoras maintain that snow is black, but no one believed him. The social psychologists of the future will have a number of of classes of school of children on whom they will try different methods of producing an unshakable conviction that snow is black. Various results will soon be arrived at. First, that the influence of home is obstructive. Second, that not much can be done unless indoctrination begins before the age of 10. Third, that verses set to music and repeatedly intonated are very effective. Fourth, that the opinion that snow is white must be held to show a morbid taste for eccentricity. It is for future scientists to make these maxims precise and discover exactly how much it costs per head to make children believe that snow is black, and how much less it would cost to make them believe it is dark gray."
In a kind of adjacent thing with this, this seems to not have any strand related to this, but like there are a lot of people talking about illiteracy rates in the country and how, you know, 70% of the country is essentially like a 6th grade reading level or whatever. Jay did a stream on this the other night talking about it. I don't even know what that means, he said. And that's certainly true. I mean, what does that mean? I think that the boomers used to call this dumbing down, but it's sort of worse than this. It's that things that you think about, and remember a few years ago when there was that thing about Zoomers saying, what do you mean you have a voice in your head? What do you mean you have something that tells you what to do every day? What you have a voice that tells you to put one foot in front of the other? Just the idea of a conscience or a subconscious mind. And when you consider that the illiteracy rates as like a basic level 1 of looking at the world that we have now, it's like when I saw a mom with her daughter walking into Walmart the other day and the t-shirt read "cunt bucket," and you question why, you know, you go through all sorts of questions. Why would you allow someone in your family to wear that? You're in public. Why would you? Who made it? What is this? But it's the thing. The thing is that it has symbols on the shirt that form letters, and there are words, but that's irrelevant. It's just a thing. Who even? it's kind of like, imagine a Tim Dillon voice talking about this. Like, who even cares about words? What do you mean? You like the shirt, you bought it. And that's sort of a way, I think, of accessing the critical thinking in the world now that's sort of beyond black pill. That's like things happen and I don't even think about that even matters.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of that, dude. Like that has become normal these days.
Yeah.
The whole like, I mean, I think back to when I was a kid, it was like, in the 90s, in the early 90s, when, I was a teenager and some of my friends were like 18, 19, and they were making the tattoo decisions. It was like, oh my God, oh shit, you'll never get a job if you have a neck tattoo or a hand tattoo. And now it's like, Elon Musk loves Post Malone and Jelly Roll, and so does Donald Trump and Kid Rock. It's like all these people with face tattoos and stuff, like, and we've all just kind of like, and I'm not judging right or wrong here. I've had evolving opinions on this over the years, but it's like we're all just kind of forgetting like a lot of these, things of the past like that, where it's like, oh, same with like the MAGA people and conservatives, like mainstream MAGA, mainstream conservatives, like giving Elon Musk a pass for having more than a dozen women signing NDAs and doing in vitro or, natural, whatever, like just impregnating all these women, all, Effrey McJepstein, kind of the same philosophy. Like, I'm going to impregnate as many chicks as possible. I'm going to set up a neighborhood here in Texas of McMansions where all my little McElons live, it's like, we had this whole thing with Ashley Sinclair and Grimes. It's just like, and it's like, because he's in a particular identity politic, everybody who's like trying to move back to traditional American values, move back to Christ, move back to the family unit, move back to all these things, are like, well, we'll give this guy a pass. I wouldn't behave that way. That's not very Christian behavior, but it's cool. He's Elon. He's connected to, you know what I mean? There's like all these things that these like play like dissonant holes of worldview dissonance that one must adopt to have any sort of identity politic or political identity or cultural identity or moral identity. You know what I mean? Like you have to, like you're constantly being, as just a person observing the world, especially through your computer or your phone, you're constantly being asked to like be outraged at something, be chuffed about something, and then also give an exception to something because it's associated with something you're chuffed with, but it's outside of your moral thing. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm rambling here, but it feels like there's this constant like it's like being in a polishing mixer or something like that, of just like going over and over the tumbler where it's
You're
like,
in a McDonald's milkshake machine.
yeah, dude, a machine that doesn't work every Thursday.
Right. Yeah. It always works, by the way.
They're just too busy to fucking bother.
Yeah, they don't want to fuck with it. Yeah.
It's the ice cream machine, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, they don't want to fuck
So
with
America's got an identity crisis, is what you're saying, Hesher.
it.
Yeah, and an ice cream crisis.
Self-licking identity. No, that's not going to work.
Oh yeah, that would have almost been a boiler room title right there if we weren't making them before the show lately. Self-licking identity ice cream crisis.
Hey, speaking of licking ice cream cones, did you see the latest news about Biden?
It's chocolate chip.
Didn't one of his doctors have to plead the fifth again?
The doctor, the one in, what's his name? Kevin O'Connor? Was that the doctor's name?
Yeah,
He's the short king.
right.
Yeah, you know
Yeah.
the one. Yeah, he stood before the House House Oversight Committee. He was in Congress under oath, and they asked him about how come you didn't tell us about Biden. I plead the fifth. He literally took the fifth.
Dude, that is even more like Emperor Wears No Clothes than when the FBI people were there and they were asked like how many people were involved in January 6th under their employment. It was like,
I plead the stiff, more like it. This guy doesn't know where he is.
yeah, they're like, we're not actually sure, or we can't say, something like that. And this dude's just like straight up like he's in criminal court. I plead the fifth. I need my public defender.
I plead the cliff. I'm going on holiday with Hillary Clinton.
More fuel for the political rage clickbaiting on X, whatever. How many of the conservative influencers took that without any actual news source, of course, although the information would have been accurate in this case. But how many emojis did they add with the little flashing sirens in the eyeballs and breaking? And look, what do you see with the random, like, weird one letter's capitalized, the other one's not? Freaking weirdos.
Yep. Oh, question from the chat room here, from the Discord chat room. By the way, if you just tuned in, you're watching Boiler Room. We are alternatecurrentradio.com. We got Baselit Analyzer. We got Spore. We got Ruckus. We got me. And go to our website, alternatecurrentradio.com. That's where you go to support us. Go to YouTube, follow and subscribe, and ring the bell for Baselit Analyzer. Go to Rumble, follow Boiler Room, follow Daily Ruckus, and all that stuff. Join us for Sunday Wire every Sunday here at Alternate Current Radio. Like, subscribe, share, all that fucking shit that we do on the internet to keep us coming back to these microphones. We appreciate that. But there's a question in the Discord. Sage wants to know, someone catch me up. What's a Zoomer? Who wants to take this one? I'm thinking Based is probably the man for this.
A Zoomer is a Gen Z Zoomer. So just like we have the Boomer, which was the largest generation, now we have the Zoomer, which has overtaken the Boomers as the largest generation. We just had the this year's graduating class of high schoolers in America was the largest graduating high school class ever. It's a huge population. The Zoomers follow millennials. I myself am a geriatric millennial, a zennial. All of that stuff is from what's the propagandist name? The Netflix guy's uncle, the guy who made up the propaganda.
Bernays.
Yeah, Bernays. I think all that stuff is Bernays. A way to monetize and consumerism, but whatever. There are obvious differences in generations. Generations tend to go in like 20 or 30 year cycles, but
I was like one of the last of the Gen Xers, I think.
Yeah, and we have Boomers, Gen X, Millennials, and there is a huge difference in sort of mentality and culture and all these things. But Zoomers are, I don't know. I think that they're probably moving into another generation now that's post Zoomer, which there's not really a name.
Jamie brought it up. She mentioned it to me, and I already forgot the name of it. But yes, it does exist.
They call them Generation Alpha, but they will have a different name.
That's what it was, and that's what we were talking about. Is they were like the new generation, right?
Yeah. There's just no other way of classifying those people. Who knows what they'll be?
That requires, like, to accept that requires that you look at Gen Z or the Zoomers as like the Omega, right? And I feel like we didn't get the Omega wave that we were expecting with the Zoomers. And it does feel like sort of the millennial crowd, especially the elderly millennials like Baselit Analyzer here, and the advanced Xers like Ruckus and myself, and sort of the young Xer like Spore, like the millennials are kind of like, they've been beat up enough now to kind of like start to hear what we've been talking about.
This is kind of the way you think about this is also in terms of technology. I think it's kind of like Gen X didn't have fucking computer or whatever now, and they were full grown adults with internet
calculators, bro. Come on.
We went to the moon on the TI Tech.
What do you get when you have 8008? Boom!
Boom! No,
but then you have sort of late Gen X millennials who had AOL, AOL online, and then you had millennials who were like Snapchat, and then you have Gen Z, which is like TikTok, and then you have Generation Alpha or whatever that is, which is the brain rot thing. So we have Gen Z is that's right. Gen Z is basically fully ensconced and absorbed into post, born slightly before the big nine, but totally 21st century sort of.
All their
technological
memories
generation.
include digital devices. They're the
Yes.
first generation where if they were in 5 years old, mom or dad had an early iPhone or an iPad or something like that.
Yeah.
And Ruckus and Spore and myself and even Based were people that did not see a lit screen other than our UHF, VHF, or cable television until we were, teenagers.
Yeah, I thought the internet was gay when it first came out. I thought it was total. Nobody did that. It was like whatever. And then when the internet really was built on like, conspiracy theory, really in the early 2000s is when I really got into it. And I mean, like the first thing I saw on the internet really was like that Mike Vallely video of him beating up this, skateboarding.
Dude, that was so good.
You remember that shit? That shit was fucking raw, dude. That was awesome.
Mike Vallely, the fucking skater, just whooping ass on like 4 assailants. Like that, if it wasn't for gaming, that would have been my entry point. But I was already in because of Doom and Half-Life and shit like that.
I was just downloading porn. I don't know what you guys are talking about.
Well, don't get me
I mean,
started.
it took like 3 nights to it was like line by line, and then be like night 2, you'd be like, I see a nipple. I'm just kidding, kid.
I got a Dell laptop and got LimeWire and downloaded like a Biggie Smalls song, and it took 3 days to download, and then the computer crashed.
Yeah, but
somebody just posted the LimeWire logo on social media the other day and said, if you know what this is, you're one of the real ones, or some shit like that.
I used to haunt the computer lab at CSU Monterey Bay on Audio Galaxy and LimeWire and Napster. I'd be in there at 3 a.m, just freaking downloading shit. Like, oh my god, dude, back in the day when that was the wild, wild west, like before Lars Ulrich got wise and sued Napster, we had so much fun.
Yeah, computers were like before the iMac generation. It was the big 90s bubble, apples, and you like all it had was like Snood, and shit like that. And then
we played Oregon Trail on the computer in school, high school.
My first computer game was Spit on Saddam on a Macintosh. It came with my Macintosh Classic 1992. Do you remember that game?
Not surprised.
Dude, that game was sick.
There was a game called Saddam.
It was called Spit on Saddam, and because it came out in Desert Storm. And
I remember that. You
shot a little blip, and your Patriot missile had to intercept a Scud. And when you intercepted it, you got to pick your spit, and then it showed a picture of Saddam, and you spit on him.
And this was before our CIA and our military engineered the coup, where he was like dragged into public, dragged behind a truck, mercilessly brutalized and murdered and assassinated too. So it was like back when there was a whole lot of like,
it was first Desert. It was Desert Shield.
America.
Remember Desert Shield?
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Desert Storm and Desert. I think Desert Storm came before Desert Shield, and I remember
it was Shield and then Storm.
Okay, so Shield was like what happened in the wake of that, like the Highway of Death, right? Like that was when, and for me, like I think I was maybe, what year was that?
I was in 5th grade.
I think I was in like a freshman in high school, maybe, and it was like the first time that. Because before that, like we hadn't really been in a big military excursion since
it was Grenada and Panama,
Grenada, Korea, Vietnam, like, and people would just see the propaganda pieces at night, on the nightly news about that, and that was their context.
This was CNN. CNN made their debut with the girl in the well. That's what like broke CNN, and then
Baby Jessica.
Baby Jessica, right?
I remember I was supposed to go to a hockey game that night with my family, and they turned on. They were like, "There's this thing called CNN, and we're at war," because Desert Shield was happening, and then we activated into Desert Storm. I still have a map from Time magazine of like all the animated like missile groups and the like where the troop deployments and the stealth bomber, like that. It was like a wall map. I have it like pasted on my desk in the other room from 1990, whatever it was, 90,
Yeah, man.
90 or 91, and then
Now,
like it
the
went
map
left.
like
And I
that on your
remember,
wall, you're in big
I
trouble, buddy.
and I remember, that that Desert Storm started, if not simultaneously, it was around the same time as the Marion Barry sting operation. You remember that? Which was broadcast live on CNN. It was Marion Barry in a hotel room buying crack with a hooker on CNN.
Berry, O.J.
Yeah.
Simpson, Desert Shield, dude. That was what
Yeah.
launched CNN. And for you Zoomers out there, kids like us, when we saw that, we thought we were living in the craziest future where it was like, wow, like we've only seen war through the lens of movies and television shows and through the voices of our grandparents and our fathers. And all of a sudden there's a channel you can go to on your television. Like imagine that. Imagine only hearing about war and conflict from your grandfather and your uncle and your great uncle or whatnot, or whatever. Or if you're just,
Or school. Yeah.
school, right? History books, like that's all you have for the only lens for it. And then here it is, early 90s. MTV is on 24/7, and all of a sudden, boom, the news is on 24.
It was awesome too, because I was like, hell yeah, dude,
Yeah, me
bomb the
too.
shit out of this country. Get
too.
those
Yeah,
Patriot missiles up. Fuck yeah, dude. I'm a 5th grader and I want to go.
I was the same way in high school. It was just like, it's amazing that I didn't end up in there, because I was the same way. I was like you. I was in the G.I. Joe and all that shit. And,
That's kind of weird.
It is.
Almost like that. Like, was that a feature or a bug? Huh?
Yeah, right. I mean, like we didn't know what we were dealing with. We thought that what we were seeing was an honest portrayal of the world, and all of a sudden, it didn't just come for 1 hour twice a day. It's on all the time, and they're showing you everything. And we never stopped to think as little guys and little girls that, oh, there might be a central intelligence agency and or a Mossad and or an MI6 and or a bunch of NGOs and or the Pentagon itself seeding messages to our parents and to us as kids. Like that didn't cross our minds. Yeah. It wasn't even something we thought we had to worry about because we were lucky enough to be born in the United States of America. Cue Bruce Springsteen's song right now. And we helped
Cue Skid Row, Boys Gone Wild, dude.
Yeah, dude.
Fuck yeah. I mean, I remember when I was in 2nd grade when Panama happened. Yep. And I remember like the teacher came in the room and was like, we've invaded Panama. And I was like, fuck yes.
Yep.
Yeah. Like, I don't give a shit where that is. I was like, fuck yes, dude. Yep. And my friend gave me Guns N' Roses Lies. So those two things went together.
Dude, Guns N' Roses Lies is such a great rock EP. I'll just stop you right there. Guns N' Roses Lies was probably the first time I ever, like, as a youth, took notice of an EP. Like, what is an EP? What do you mean there's only 5 songs on here and 2 of them are cover songs or whatever, and like the rest don't sound like what you would hear from a release from the band. That fucking EP rocks so hard, man. I
put it on my Sony Sports Walkman.
Yeah, the yellow.
Listen to the acoustic side to go to sleep every night.
Fuck yeah, dude.
It was fucking sweet. And it had that nude girl in the fucking in the tape.
With like newspaper like view.
Yeah. It was awesome, dude.
So good. So fucking good. Oh man, young people, sorry Zoomers, but you guys didn't get cassettes, you guys didn't get LPs, you only got Spotify. Spotify's rad and all, but man, you missed out on like getting the freaking magnifying glass out and trying to like read all the stuff in those like fake news articles inside the Guns N' Roses Lies EP. I
learned how to cuss from Eazy-E, Easy Does It, and Guns N' Roses Lies. My friend and I would listen to Eazy-E and we would write down the cuss words.
Fucking A, and NWA and 2 Live Crew, all those guys, man.
See, when we were your age, kids, we got Lies, just like you get Lies, but our Lies were fun, and your lies are destroying the country.
Yeah.
USA lies, lies, lies.
That's right. That's
That's a
right.
song by Violent Femmes, by the way. Lies,
Yeah.
lies, lies, lies. Anyway,
That's right. Shout out to the Femmes. All right. Well, that was fun. What else do we got here tonight, you guys? Let's talk about Epstein for a second here. People
Epstein. Are people
my
still talking about Epstein?
that guy.
That old story?
This guy again?
Nobody cares about Epstein, Hesher.
That
Let's
guy?
skip it.
This guy again.
Dude,
This guy.
I'm actually very, very happy that this all has happened the way it has, because for once now, I mean, I don't care who you are. No one at this point can deny that the president of the United States just gaslit the entire country, and everybody's fine with it, apparently. This is great. Cannot make this shit up, right?
Yeah.
I mean, obviously there's a lot of upset people, but in general, I mean, his base, not only have they not like raised an eyebrow, they've doubled down. Some of them have gone full Q mode now. It's quite the sight to behold.
My
It's really
favorite one
freaking
is
crazy.
Trump has the list. He's using it against everybody else.
Yeah.
You can't see it. You can't have it, or you'll mess up his. That's my favorite. I love that. Like, if life was this easy, fuck, man. Let's go. Let's take a vacation, you guys. We don't need to be doing this.
That is the apotheosis of trust the plan. You know, that's like the end of it. That's the last action.
Oh, we
Yeah.
forgot to tell you what the plan was, did we? The plan was to put in the finishing nails in America's coffin. Congratulations, MAGA.
An Exodus song comes to mind. The last act of defiance is totally, the lyrics are not connected to what we're talking about, right? But the title itself, this is like the last act of defiance of Trump against and his entire cabinet. Pam Blondie, Kash Patel with his Mossad wife, and Bongino. I don't know what they did to you, Bongino, but man, it's really, really depressing to watch you turn into a spineless fucking jellyfish, man. And Donald Trump himself, who says Epstein is now this guy, after all the tweets and all the X posts and all the truth posts and all the shit he's talked over these years. I only knew that guy in the 90s.
Well, what about the binders?
What about the binders that went to fucking what's his face? DC Drano and Liz Wheeler and all these other people. Like,
Well, we don't have to worry about that because people are dying in Texas, according to the president. So we're good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Moving on.
Yeah, that's
Thank
what
you
I was
for
saying.
your attention to this matter.
And that's what I was saying earlier about the nuanced things. Go out the door, and as long as you focus on the disaster that's happening, because you can't do both and. Right. Of course, you could also do the bombings. You can do the Iranian thing, and then do the Nobel Peace Prize and do the visit to the White House, which don't have anything apparently to do with this with the cope. So,
his little gaslighting tirade where he was berating the journalists there, because he interrupted. In case people missed it, it was the reporter was asking a question of Pam Bondi about the Epstein stuff because she
had
there's a
it on her
rumor.
fucking
There's
desk
a rumor going
ago.
around. I mean, there's no proof or evidence, but apparently, allegedly, she may have implied somewhere along the line that maybe the list was sitting on her desk and she was going to release it like soon. No, obviously, she said that. Yeah. So the reporter called her out on it, and before she could answer, Donald Trump interrupted, gaslit everybody. But part of it was, I think Trump was almost offended. He was ready to defend his honor about the promises made, promises delivered thing. So there was this distraction, like, oh, look, we got this tragedy in Texas, but intermingled in there at the same time, which was very weird. Offsetting that was like, and America's doing effing great. We're making money. Everybody's doing good. We fixed the economy. We stopped the wars. He was praising how awesome everything is, and that there's no reason to be talking about this guy. I'm like, well, yeah, because this one is not a win for you, Trump, because it's not you made a promise and you didn't deliver, and everybody can see it, that you just like, no, don't look here. No, you don't see anything. Crazy.
We stopped the war in Kenya. I stopped the war in Kenya. I stopped the war in South America. I stopped.
Did I mention that Bibi Netanyahu nominated me for a Nobel Peace Prize? It's all
Right.
good.
The Nobel Peace Prize.
Right.
Fuck, man. No, this is a weird one because it's not the first chip in the stone between MAGA and independents, conservatives, like political people and non-liberals, right? Like people don't understand, I think, like worldwide, that in this country there's really like progressive liberals, old school. Like if I really had to, like they tell us we have two parties, right? But if you really look at the people that you've got progressive liberals who like do all the hashtag things. You've got classic liberals who confuse themselves with people whose party hasn't left them behind, and they're mostly anti-war, and that's where we find a lot of like common partners. And then you've got your mainstream conservatives, which arguably have become MAGA these days, right? And they fight between each other about trusting the plan or not, but generally if Trump is in a direction, they're with it. They don't want to worry about it too much. It's kind of a safe space. Then you got your libertarians, your more conspiracy oriented conservatives, sort of constitutional conservatives, don't give a fuck people that just want to be left alone, that basically adhere to the U.S. Constitution and the Bill of Rights. There's like this whole Venn diagram that is right of center that is a massive amount of people. And even some of those people left of center, like the classic liberals, would agree with 30 to 40.
I would say there's all these small concentric circles, but really there are only two big circles.
Yes.
Or rather a small circle and a big circle.
Right.
There are the people that want to name, find, and guillotine the motherfuckers who are running this operation involving what it does, and then there's everybody else. I mean, that's really what it is. And those two things are, the second one is united across parties, across the world, and that's not. I mean, what can you even say about this shit?
You just it's
so far beyond gone.
You completely fixed my fucking headline there. That was one of those things where I'm trying to softball it a little bit and kind of include everybody, but you're exactly fucking right. That's the translation out of my attempt at globalese right there.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just like the motherfucking mainstream media, the mass media cartel is what is in the middle of this. Them and the social media technocrat cartel. Those two things, like they are a level like on the pyramid, right above us plebs and doom scrollers, and right below intelligence agencies, international banking cartels, that kind of shit. And then even up above that is politicians, but like their influence is not even important because it just gets bigger as it trickles down. This is one of those trickle down effects where this particular pyramid,
this is one of those things that this is the democratizing effect of the war on the self that came out of the 2020 stuff, I think, where the giant global plans reached into the persons of every person on, everyone on the planet.
Yeah.
And this is where you see that there's that Oliver Stone movie Nixon, where Anthony Hopkins goes to visit. He sets up a thing to go meet Richard Helms at Langley, and Helms is off playing golf, and so he has to hurry back before before Nixon gets there. And this this apparently happened. And he says, "I called for you. Where were you?" And Helms is like, "You don't. Let me explain something. You don't call for me. I come when I want to. I'm here to tell you that presidents come and go, and the governments come and go, but the intelligence apparatus, or now they call it the IC, always remains." And this is an example, I think, of where that has bled all the way down into where just normal everyday people are even aware of this stuff. And that is part of their problem, that this was never supposed to be a thing that we were supposed to be talking about, I suppose. Or maybe we were, maybe this is purposeful, and we were supposed to be terrorized with the knowledge of this stuff. But it's like Diddy and this in the same week, and then you never heard anything else about Jean-Luc Brunel. I haven't heard about anything with him or the guy, the Abercrombie guy, or any of those other people. And the things continue, but
Yeah.
they can put this all on Jeff Stein and the fact that he's gone, and now it's gone. What do you mean that guy?
Dude, this was all so predictable too. Like, I'm not disappointed. I'm not surprised. I'm not anything, but yeah, this is where we're at. I mean, especially to have like Diddy lined up with this, Cash Patel, and oh my God, Cash. Pathetic.
Cash App, PayPal.
Cash App, PayPal.
Athleisure.
With your lazy eye.
He goes, don't you think if I knew something like that I would do something about it? Don't you trust me?
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah.
Who are you even argue?
Like, we didn't notice your Mossad affiliated wife clinging on to you there, making that like scared look like she actually has to go home with you. Yeah, noticed that. I mean, it went from like all these guys, they went from the podcaster guys, right? Like all the podcaster, like sort of, rubbing elbows with all the technocrats and the mainstream podcasters into the administration, and now they all just shut up. They'll do one appearance a year. They used to be on Twitter Spaces, X Spaces. They'd be on anybody's podcast. Some of them even came on my show. Based, you and Ruckus have both followed up people that were in Trump's cabinet on my show when it was on Today's News Talk. Like they were all rubbing elbows with all of us, all of us, tinfoil hat wearing, unwashed citizen podcasters. And now they're too good for everybody. Now they want to make fun of you if you say the same thing that they said when they came on our shows, 2 years ago, a year ago, whatever. They want to belittle you. So it's just like, that's not sitting well with a lot of people right now.
I saw a great meme with Trump on the phone with George W. Bush, and he said, he was saying something like, great, now you've learned, welcome to the club. We're going to call you Neocon Don.
W's like, I had to sit and watch that video of me reading to those little kids on September 11th over and over again. It's your turn, Don.
The memes have been pretty good though about this one.
They have been spicy, yeah.
And I do want to share a comment that one of our diehard one of our Discord members, y'all used to remember him. It goes by Zod. He now goes by Zara Tassadarkon. Or whatever he wants to call himself. It's fine by me. You know the one. But he said the other day about this, Epstein be like, cash me outside if you can. I got my bail bondy. Cash me outside.
Bail Blondie, yeah,
Bail Bondy, and who was the one that made that statement famous? The cash me outside. That was Bad Bobby, right?
Bad baby,
bad Bobby, right? She's got diabetes now, I hear.
Yeah, the Dr. Phil, Dr. Phil, who was the first one on the ice raids? Remember?
That's right.
So you're telling me you came here illegally? Let me ask you a question. What if you didn't?
Does she have the T1D or the T2D?
Everybody's got the TDS.
Yeah, really. Didn't she make a whole bunch of money on OnlyFans first? I mean, I don't know. I can't keep up with that.
Caramba. Yeah, I think so.
Right.
She's pregnant now, or had a kid, or something. I don't know, something like that happened. Weird.
Well, hey, if she knows who the daddy was and it wasn't one of 2,000 guys like that other OnlyFans.
Maury Povich is getting to the bottom of it.
Yeah, I'm sure he will.
We've got the evidence. You're saying I'm not.
We've got the DNA test coming in, folks.
I miss Geraldo.
You know what? I need to make a Maury Povich meme for the Epstein files. That's an obvious one. Nobody's done that yet.
Yeah.
So if you want to beat me to it, everybody go for it. But it should be the Maury Povich reading the results of the paternity test things, or the lie detector test. He said, "You said that the Epstein files were on your desk. We have determined that was a lie."
I just said that I miss Geraldo. I don't miss Geraldo. Fuck Geraldo. I miss Donahue. Donahue was the shit. He
Phil
had
Donahue.
he had a synthwave logo, and he had Ted Bundy glasses, and he ran around the studio. Remember, he would next up for you, sir, and he would run.
Yeah.
Remember?
And, Morton Downey Jr. too. Shout out to Morton Downey Jr. That guy was awesome as well. Like Donahue, Morton Downey Jr., Jerry Springer at certain points in his career, like those guys were a joke.
Come
but
on,
no
y'all.
joke.
We all know it was all about the late night one, which was still like a daytime show, but it was Arsenio Hall. Woo, 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 woo.
Yeah. Remember when Bobby Brown dropped an 8-ball on the stage live on Arsenio Hall? You remember that? He went back. He went back dancing and picked it up.
Clinton playing the saxophone.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, that's great.
The original Trump dance was like trying to grab my 8-ball.
Yeah, that's what won Bill Clinton that election. Remember, it was boxers or briefs. Remember, it was that, and it was Arsenio Hall playing the sax.
Kind of like how promising to release the JFK files, the Epstein files, the UFO files, and auditing Fort Knox. Oh wait, never mind.
Where are we at with all that? Are we good on any of that?
It's sitting on Pam Bomdy's desk.
Well, except Epstein. That's just that guy now. That's off the desk. We just we hit a speed bump, you guys. We're just not going to get that one. We've got to accept the L on this. There's no client list. Sorry, folks. There's no client list. I'm so sorry about your client list. I'm sorry that global government and the Mossad and the CIA and the FBI and the Pentagon took away your client list. I'm really sorry about that. But, you've probably never even heard of their blackmail list, their money laundering list, you're obsessed with the black book and the John's client list. That's all very interesting as well, but no fucks given about all this connections to Lex Wexner, whatever the fuck his name is, the Victoria's Secret shit. No fucks given about the connections.
Even Dershowitz said this week that he's seen the list.
Oh yeah, of course Dershowitz is on the list. Jeez, dude, and that's like a cleansing thing now for everybody. Like, yeah, I'm on the list. So what? It doesn't mean shit. He's just that guy now.
Listen, guys, I think this is exactly to your point, Hesher. There's this argument going on about two elements of this thing, that we've got the Johns, the clients who were on the flights and attended the parties and did God knows what with God knows how old, etc. And then the victims. And they've been saying, oh, well, we're not going to release this. And what we were really talking about was the list of the victims, and it's for their privacy, yada, yada. So there's argument back and forth. Oh, well, you're not going to let us see the Johns list. Oh, well, it's about the victims, Johns, victims, Johns. I'm pretty sure there's still a third party here in this little setup, if I'm not mistaken. Is no one wondering who is the one who's doing the compromising? They're like, oh, they assume that they're covering up because that their names are on the list. That's not what they're covering up. They're not covering. They don't give an F about. They'd be happy to throw these people under the bus. They don't care. They're not protecting people like Dershowitz if he was on the list, or the king, or the prince, or Trump. No, they're protecting the people who are running the blackmail ring.
Yeah.
And that can never come out. And we all know who or what is at the top of that. We mention it all the time, but it's the number. It's the
it would expose intelligence operations and their methods, right?
Yeah, you can't say these things. I hope I'm not in trouble.
Security matter, boys.
I learned this from Grok version 3, so it's okay. It's not my fault, and Grok 3 has been fixed, so we're good.
I don't even know what you're talking about. I'm going to see Superman.
Nice. No, you better not, because Dean Cain, who used to play Superman, says that this new one by James Gunn is nothing but woke garbage.
Well, I did see an interview with James Gunn, who said, "Is it political? Yes, it's political. It's about immigration. Yes, it's woke." I mean,
that's what I heard too. Like, Superman is anti-ICE, and he's pro open borders. Like, yay.
Yeah.
But you know what? I hear this stupid like one-liner about every frickin' pop culture movie that comes out lately, and it's like sometimes I watch them and I realize, okay, that is an aspect of the story, but you're missing everything else that's in there, which may be a little like may sound a little apologetic for modern Hollywood and their agendas, but at the same time, like I find it interesting to see those pieces of propaganda and psychological operations and predictive programming and just pat myself on the back for seeing it for what it is and hopefully finding something to enjoy in the rest of it. But
Well,
sometimes that's
I hope
impossible.
you didn't get like mind fucked into watching the movie that you were probably never going to watch in the first place.
Oh,
I'm
that's
going to go see it so you guys don't have to. So don't worry
Are
about
you
it.
gonna do a stream after you watch it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
hmm
I'm
Yeah.
curious because James Gunn is one of those guys I have mixed feelings about because it's like he's the one that was part of the Trauma team. I was referencing Trauma earlier today. I'm pretty sure it was him that was affiliated with Trauma like back in the day. And on the one hand, like I got so much enjoyment out of Toxic Avenger, Killer Condom, Attack of the Killer Tomatoes, and all that other stuff when I was a kid that like I would hope that people from that swim lane of B films would go on to be successful, and continue. And that's kind of what I feel like he did. But then there's this other side where it's like you look at his social media presence and he said some really like creepy things.
Yeah.
But at the same time, they're like things you would expect from someone that was involved with some of those films. And it may just be shock oriented, but it's hard to tell. He may actually be a twisted individual in some ways. But then on top of that, I know people that actually have met him and hung out at his house and, told, for what it's worth, totally anecdotal, but, just to add to the dissonance of like collecting as much information as possible and trying to think about someone like that, I've been told that he's a cool guy actually. And it's like, I don't know what to think. And so I have to take a step back and just be like, okay, but now he's such a political figure. He was almost removed from the Marvel universe altogether, but he was so successful with Guardians of the Galaxy. That was him, right? I'm not confusing him
Yeah.
with
He was.
Schneider or someone else. Yeah.
Did
So
he have
it's
a
like,
Me Too thing going, or was that somebody
yes,
else?
yes, there was some events during that narrative arc that he was
I
involved
put it down to, I call it Holly weird. I don't know. I
Yeah.
don't know if you guys have heard.
It's very
That's a
Hollywood
new one to me.
weird. Yeah. Right. Like as
Yeah.
an onlooker, it's hard to even have an opinion, at least for me personally, because of just how long I've been watching things that guy has been involved with,
hmm Well, we'll see. The proof will be in the pudding, and you can almost never count on filmmakers or artists or even writers to discuss their own work with any kind of clarity.
I like that. I appreciate that,
Something,
man.
yeah, something happens between the creation process and the result of it, where they are usually their own worst. They give horrible summaries of the things that they've done, and they sort of have no understanding of the thing they've created. I mean,
Yeah.
that is the case much of the time. Very few people can talk about their own work in a way with any kind of clarity. I mean, Quentin Tarantino can kind of do that at times,
He's
but
good at it.
most people can't do it. So we'll see
Well,
what the
Ruckus
work is.
and Spore and I were just talking about oh shit, which director was that? We were in the car, we were talking about crap, I can't remember. It was like Tarantino adjacent. Maybe Ruckus will remember. But it's like I don't know. I lost my train of thought. Fuck it. Fuck
About the
that.
director?
Who knows?
Mhm.
I don't know. Maybe Grok knows. We should ask Grok, right?
That's Rock. Man,
Is
you
this
gotta
real?
you gotta love these accounts on X, like Don Lucicero or whatever the fuck his name is, where like they just post this stuff and it's always like a
Oh,
question
Don
mark.
Luker, breaker of narratives. That
Yeah,
guy.
yeah, that one. It's
Okay,
like
all
where
right.
it's like 60 to 80% of the stuff that they put up is like an actual headline or whatever. But then there's this whole other like genre of things that they put up where it's like they post a picture or an image or a concept or a sentence or a paragraph, and it's like leaves this open-ended thing with a question mark at the end, and a lot of times it's like AI generated or something like that. Just this whole like openly fake and gay percentage on a very popular account, and it's like you're inclined to want to follow it because it does provide. It's like the old Veterans Today website or whatever, where it was like 80%, believable headlines, and then 20% just off out in the fucking
The
strategy.
truth will come out. Oprah, you have been targeted for exposure.
She's in Gitmo.
And then like a random picture, like something just randomly circled on the screen, and you're like, "What the fuck am I looking at?" I don't.
Yeah, and the ex post will actually say, "What is this right here?" With a circle around it or whatever.
And then
like,
you know what people do now? Now
They
with
ask
all these
Grok.
posts, they ask Grok, "What is he talking about?"
and riddle me this.
Boiler Room has the word oil in it. Do they support the war in Iraq?
This is what I want to know. Like, is this some sort of genius strategy? Like, do double, premium blue check marks on X? Do they get money if enough people come in and ask Grok about their post? That's like what I'm wondering about accounts like that, where they do that, because the first thing you always see under it is someone going, "Hey Grok, what is this picture about? What is the origin of this? What," and Grok will come through with, generally a pretty good answer that sets the story straight, and then a huge discussion generates under it. And I just feel like it's Grok aggrandizing, and they get, shekels for it. But I'm just guessing.
Dude, you would not believe what is happening on Facebook right now. Have you messed around with Facebook lately?
Every time I go there, it tells me that I'm getting a virus and I have to fucking close it.
Awesome. I think you're definitely onto something, Hesher. And Zuck is doing the exact same thing. He's got his Meta AI on there. And dude, I've never seen posts like this before. I've been getting fed these posts that don't make a lick of fucking sense. They're like, "Can you figure out this angle?" And they're like, dude, I studied math in like high levels, and I'm like, dude, this is like, and then like, but the right underneath the post, every one of these posts that you're scratching your head over, like, there's all these like pre-made prompts to like Meta AI. What does the person mean by this? What are some, like, it's all these ways. And again, like you said, you're clicking on that thing, you're using that product, and you're increasing the engagement on the post and locking people in on the platform. So yes, I guarantee that it is somebody's getting paid for this at the end of the day. And I bet your ass it's those people making the posts 100%.
All right. I thought so. I felt it. In my.
Oh, what is this angle?
Very good theory, sir. I'm going to double down on that one for sure.
This is bad, dude. This is bad. Where we are in 2025 is not good. Oh shit. Is that a Carcass t-shirt? Sick. Fuck yeah, it is, man. Fuck yeah. Who sent me? Someone sent me. Oh, I think it was my buddy Matt. Check this out. Okay, this is sort of an aside. Hold with me, folks, while I do an extreme left turn here. Let me go to my Instagram. Let me share this page.
Oh no.
Yeah. Don't worry. I don't have any AIs for you tonight. Let's see here. First off, another shout out to Sage for the constant weekly posting of Boiler Room. We appreciate that. We really do. So there it is. If you're not following Sage Morrison, you should. And then, okay, let me find this. What were we just talking about? I forgot what I was looking for, but somebody sent me a
Carcass t-shirt.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so that was Matt. Shout out to Matt. Let's see if I can find his post. Here it is. I don't know, is this real or what? But let's look at this. He sent me this. It's a Balenciaga puffy jacket.
Yep.
$27,540. It's called Intestina. version 2,
Hemorrhagic maroon.
infection gray,
Wow.
available in both hemorrhagic maroon and infection gray. And if you're just listening and not watching the show, it's like a puffy jacket that has some weird like intestines, an intestinal shape on it. So
That's like that latest Viggo Mortensen movie with the Cronenberg, right? Where the art is his surgery, is his surgical procedures become the art. That's also a step on from the lady, was it Lady Gaga in the meat dress?
Yes.
And that kind of began that. And it's also, remember you guys covered way back the flesh phone.
Yep.
Do you remember that or whatever? the phone holder that was like flesh.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
so I wrote our friend Matt back and I said they should give the band Carcass a royalty on that jacket. This band Carcass, like when I first discovered them in the early 90s, they were like my age. They were like teenagers or something like that. And they were writing all their lyrics like based on one of their dads was like I don't know, some sort of pathologist or something like that. So he had all these like medical books and shit. So all their lyrics are full of that kind of stuff. But anyways, I feel like Balenciaga owes Carcass a royalty for that because their album covers are all like collages of corpses and intestines and stuff like that.
I'm gonna vote fake on that one.
It might be. I wondered. I'm still wondering. Maybe one of our social reject fact checkers out there can source this one out for us. We don't have the time.
Don't ask Grok.
Don't ask Grok. No, you got to do your own research here. You can ask Grok.
You do not want to ask Grok things right now, people. It's getting kind of. I mean, like somebody asked him to make pizza the other day, and this happened.
Can you get square pepperoni anywhere? Is that a thing? I mean, I've not seen that.
Well, actually, that's how it started, and not long after Grok went on these types of things, they rolled out with the new version of Grok, which now looks something like this. And all kidding aside, the end result of this was this. Don't let the door hit you on the way out. Yacarino is getting the F out of the yep, she's done.
Wait, Yacarino was the one that said freedom of speech, but not
freedom of reach.
Yep. Right? Is that, do I have that right?
Now she's free to do whatever the F she wants, whatever.
So does she have freedom of speech or just that and not freedom of reach?
Nice. I'm going to take a wild guess that she is not only going to be leaving X the company, she'll probably not be using X the platform either. Just a guess.
But I needed her to monitor my freedom of reach.
She'll probably get. She's going to become like the CEO of like. She'll become the vice. She'll be like a Blue Sky or Sam Altman's new thing or some shit like that. I bet you she'll hook up with Sam Altman. I'm calling that right now.
All right. Okay. Noted. Time stamped. We
remember Ruckus said that one.
But not in the vial. right next to Nazi Pug.
They also sell Luftwaffles.
That's right.
Okay.
99 of them.
But yeah, so did you guys see how that happened with the X? What was going on with the Grok? I think it's a little too convenient that this happened right before they were going to. Like Elon Musk came out and announced ahead of time that there was going to be a Grok 4 coming out, and then all of a sudden there's these weird problems with Grok 3. And I don't know. I don't trust any of this.
Right.
Stuff,
so we're now to get normalized to the fact that, the AI is hallucinating again. So we're going to roll out the new version tomorrow, guys. It's going to be awesome. Have it,
It's like Chat Dan. Remember that?
What's Chat Dan?
Chat Dan was the jailbroken GPT, and it did the same thing.
Oh, okay. Right.
And they shut it down. It was do anything now. So it was like you could ask it who really did JFK, and it would be like, well, it was Mossad, CIA, and James Files for the Chicago outfit, even though most people don't believe this. I just told you the truth.
Yeah, that's that's exactly how it happened.
Yeah.
It's like Elon was promising more truth telling coming from his bot, and so they loosened up the reins a little bit too much. And lo and behold, nobody did not see that coming, right?
Yeah.
Right. Nazi cakes.
I did not see that coming. See what you did.
I didn't do it.
No, you should be arrested. This is absurd.
I should probably be sanctioned by Marco Rubio.
D-platform, D-person, D-bank. Oh man, yeah, Grok has been constant entertainment this week, and I'm pretty sure people are making money off creating Grok engagement, and that's why 20% of their output is stuff with a question mark at the end, or a siren at the beginning of a maybe fake or maybe real video.
Yep.
Seems pretty obvious.
They all post the same thing. It's like a templated post. It's the same video, the same picture.
Almost
they just handle it a little differently. And they all happen to magically find each other's posts and like it.
And boost it. Almost like Influenceable has given them the talking point, and they got paid $1,000.
I wasn't going to go that far, man.
On top of their monthly salary. I'm talking to you, Ian Miles Chung, and you, Mario. But hey, we're glad you're being commercially successful. That is the American way. Just don't sell out our country, please. Let's see, what else do we got tonight, you guys?
I guess there's one other weird thing that's been going on with the whole Epstein thing is the way Alex Jones has decided to handle it.
Oh, give me the summary. I've been curious.
Holy shit. It's hard to follow because he's been all over the place with this stuff, but I mean, I know he's walked back or changed his mind or put out a new video, but for the vast majority of this fallout, he seems to be pushing this idea, albeit through a guest, but he was talking about it and crying in a car video and all. Anyways, the idea is that yes, that it's that you guys mentioned it earlier that Trump is using the list to blackmail Israel, and that this is all part of the Q. Like he jumped full into the whole Q thing. And I'm like, dude, this is not helping. And then he was making some comments about the Butler, Pennsylvania thing. And that's come back into the limelight again on both sides of the aisle. One, I think, on purpose, pushed out by the propaganda machine, that being that there are, I think it was 6 Secret Service agents involved in that event, as they describe it. Not me. They call it an event, right? The Butler, Pennsylvania thing. That they've been suspended because, I mean, holy crap, it's because of these stupid, incompetent Secret Service agents that we almost lost Donald Trump, right? But thank God, literally, not metaphorically, literally have to thank the almighty Lord above, because he single-handedly came down and saved Donald Trump so that he could not release the Epstein files.
I thought Alex was saying that was what people were saying, that was the thing, that they were going into the cope about him doing that, but that if that were true, then that would also make them party to it because they were using the same blackmail material. So it just transfers ownership. But I thought that's what he said, but I don't know.
And then, of course, a few people have pointed out, it's like, no matter how you look at this, it's not good for the president. So either he's lying and covering up for fill in the blank. Lots of people want to he's covering up for himself. Obviously, he's on the whatever. I don't know about all that. I'm kind of on the fence about that. I'm leaning more towards he's probably not on the list. He probably covered his ass better when it came to these things because he's been so out in the public about his other dirty, lecherous things. Like I'll grab him in the pussy. People have been playing old clips of him hanging out with Howard Stern, insinuating comments about teenage girls and stuff like so. Like he doesn't. I think if he was going to do anything, he's not going to mess around with somebody like Epstein. Okay, but the thing is, like, he did promise. That was part of his campaign promises made, promises delivered. We're going to make America great again. We're going to get to the bottom of this, XYZ, all of these things. And that was it. Yeah. He talked about it. He posted it in all caps on his True Social, So either he lied during the campaign to steal votes from you poor suckers. Oh, that looks great. Or he's lying to you now. That looks not great. None of this looks good for him. So I don't know what this all means. But obviously they're covering up for something much more important, which is probably the people at the top, the blackmailers,
Right.
not the people being blackmailed.
This is where we bump up against quote unquote national security, right?
Yeah. And obviously the entire world will fall apart. Quite literally, I suppose, because the world is run by these satanic pedophile elites, apparently. But there you go.
Goblins.
Yep. Pot, as Alex says, pot-bellied goblins with goblin slop and vomit all over them.
And you thought it was in Hollywood.
Exactly, dude.
Yeah.
Let's see here. I got it. Yeah, the goblins, man. This is the old Alex Jones that we need now.
Yeah, there's no audio. We can't hear him. He's saying,
Wait,
and they are vicious wolves. Yeah.
Goblin vomit and slop. Yes, Trump
Goblin slop and vomit all over him.
Goblin's nest.
Like, yeah.
Oh yeah, that didn't go out on the stream either.
Yeah.
Oh, it didn't. Oh, that's terrible. I'm so sorry. I'll try to cut that into the audio feed, but sorry for you out there on the video feed. Yeah, the Alex Jones we need, the Goblin slop one. All right, let's go around the room here. Let's close it out. We've gone overdrive here tonight. Thanks for staying with me late tonight, you guys. Ruckus, over to you. Saved rounds, final thoughts, any stories we missed? I know we had a bunch more.
No, actually, I think we actually worked them all in, even if it was just a quick side reference. But we did cover the big news. Obviously, everybody's talking about the Epstein thing and the Epstein fallout, and they'll probably still be talking about it, although I don't know why people are talking about this. This old news. That guy. Anyway, that was probably my best Trump impression yet. Nothing like Baze does. Anyways, I am working my hardest at getting some new Daily Ruckus content out for you fine folks. I'm toying with the idea of doing a live stream on a Saturday coming up, either this Saturday, if I can do it quick enough, just to test it out. But I definitely think I want to do something in a couple weeks after my birthday, because my birthday, I think it'll be a boiler room night in 2 weeks from now. So that following Saturday, I'm thinking of doing like a special Ruckus birthday celebration live stream on my own Rumble channel. So stay tuned for information about that. Either at my X, I'm AC_wordslinger, or you just go to alternatecurrentradio.com. That's where you find not only the Daily Ruckus, but also my appearances on other programs, such as the wonderful Weaponized News with Sham Chaney under my moniker of Roundabout Ruckus. You'll also find my recent appearance with Jamie Hanshaw there. You'll find my good friends podcast. This guy right here, Hesher, he does something called Boiler Room. Oh, wait, that's what you're watching now, but that's where you go to find those. You'll also find Odd Man Out, Mystical American Patriot Society, and very soon, Baselit Analyzer will also be on the website. But on top of all that, you'll find links to how you can reach out to me. You can send me an email, find me on my social medias, etc. Hey, you can even still buy Daily Ruckus t-shirts and mugs. But that's where you want to follow me to find out about the live thing. Other than that, I'll probably be joining you and Patrick Hesher on Sunday for the Sunday Wire. If not, you guys can catch me for Weaponized News next weekend right here again for the Boiler Room. It's been a blast. It's been real, but I can't say it's been a real blast. God bless each and every one of you, and God save this republic. Ruckus out.
All right. Thanks, Ruckus. Over to you, Baze, man. It's been
bud.
Having you here tonight. Tell everybody where to find you and all that good stuff.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me again here. And you can find me at Baselit Analyzer at YouTube. I just covered part 3, which is books 2, 3, and 4 of Narnia, C.S. Lewis. I'm doing a deep dive into all things C.S. Lewis, including biographies.
By the way, a C.S. Lewis quote came up on Sunday Wire last week. We had a massive audience, and we gave you a massive shout out.
Oh,
Let
nice.
people know that you were doing that C.S. Lewis series over there on your YouTube channel. We recommend you go over there, subscribe, hit the bell, all that good YouTuber shit.
Thanks, bud. Appreciate it, man. Yeah, I did books 2, 3. I'm about to cover it'll be probably next week, The Horse and His Boy, and then finally The Last Battle. I'm also doing the Space Trilogy, Until We Have Faces. I've covered Screw Tape Letters and a bunch of Narnia. I'll also be doing a major William Blake stream coming up on Fearful Symmetry. I'll be doing the Superman movie Friday. I just covered 28 Years Later. I just did Burmis, Johnny Vedmore last week. And a bunch of stuff, and I will be hanging out this coming week. I'm going on another little vacation, and I'll be hanging out with Rachel Wilson and Andrew Wilson up there, and so that'll be fun. And also, I just got to say, the internet can bring us together in weird ways. Today, I did a stream on a fellow's channel and called Baron Strawberry, and in the middle of the stream, he asked me. Somebody in the chat said, "Do you know?" And then they named this girl, because I was talking about this guy's Irish. I was talking about when I lived in Northern Ireland. Do you know this girl? I said, yes, I knew her from where I lived in Belfast. And then I said, do you know Claire from London? And then at the same time, she said, do you know Claire? These are friends of mine that lived on the same street. I've met this guy I was on the stream with. I've met his wife before. This was 20 years ago. And we all lived in the same place, and we hung out, and that was incredible. I mean, what are the chances? So it's a small world. There are not too many people. It's a small world, and we just got to get out there and meet each other in real life. But the internet can bring us together. So thanks again for having me, man. Appreciate you.
Absolutely. Thank you, man. And guess what? There's room for all of us in it. A little bit of light on the cockroaches, a little bit of truth will really help us achieve that. So I want to thank you for hanging out with us here in the boiler room. Sage, thank you. She wants me to tell you that she knew what a Zoomer was, but she thought it would be interesting to hear us talk about it. So really appreciate that. All right. And all of you watching out there on YouTube, X, and Rumble, thank you so much for being with us. We'll see you next time here in the boiler room.
That's it. Go ahead and run. Run home and cry to mama.